Well, Pacelli and Boomer, they're grizzled and gray, talking about Star Wars from back in the day. Got a talk show called Geeky Geezers, it's true, spinning old tales about the stuff they went through. From Atari to Shrek, they know every line. Geeky Geezers, man, they're feeling just fine. Late Savvy's got a lightsaber, swings it with pride. Boomer's got a game, but plays it deep in the night. They're ranting about He-Man and old X-Men too. On Geeky Geezers, they're the nerdiest crew, talking Transformers toys, they twist and they turn, singing blues for the geek life, their hearts still burn. Oh, Geeky Geezers, they're living the dream, talking comics and movies, they're busting the scenes. From Battlestar reruns to D&D lore, they're preaching the gospel of geek evermore. Pacelli and Boomer, they'll never grow old. Geeky Geezers with hearts made of gold. They're sitting in the studio, mics turned up loud, reminiscing about Super Friends, feeling so proud. Pacelli loves Spider-Man, Boomer's for Hulk. They argue about Star Trek with passion and both. From Betamax tapes to their old D20s, Geeky Geezers where the nostalgia flows. They got fans in the chat, from the young to the old, tuning in to hear stories that never get cold. Talking Ghostbusters, Proton Packs, Toys in the Box, and Saturday mornings with cartoons that rock. Pacelli and Boomer, they're keeping it real. Geeky Geezers with that old school feel. Oh, Geeky Geezers, they're living the dream, talking comics and movies, they're busting the scenes. From Battlestar reruns to D&D lore, they're preaching the gospel of geek evermore. Pacelli and Boomer, they'll never grow old. Geeky Geezers with hearts made of gold. They're singing the blues for the games that they play, for the VHS tapes and the arcades that pray. But the spirits are young, though their hair's turning white. Geeky Geezers keep the nerd fire alight, so tune in each week to the Geeky Geezers show, where Pacelli and Boomer let the good times flow. From X-Files to X-Men, they're dropping the news, singing praises of geek life with them old blues. Pacelli and Boomer, forever they'll be. Geeky Geezers living wild and free.
Hello. I want to talk to you about something. So, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. So, back in the summer of 1990,
Yes.
younger Boomer decided to scrimp and save his measly allowance money, and he eventually saved up $30 to go into an electronics boutique. Do you remember those?
I do.
Yes.
Well, I know different kinds. Are you talking like Radio Shack type electronics?
No, they sold the electronics boutique as a chain, like Babbage's. They sold computer software and, of course, games. So I go in there and I buy Castlevania for the Nintendo Entertainment System, because earlier that prior back in December, my first NES game that I got for Christmas was Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, and I'm like, it's great I got the sequel, but I need to play the original. I need to, get the full picture here, right?
Right.
I go and I get Castlevania, and I get it, and I bring it home, and I play it, and I play it, and I play it, and I could not beat it. It is not an easy game, okay? For starters, there's this thing, whenever an enemy hits you, your character gets knocked back.
Right.
You get knocked back near a ledge, you're done. You fall to your death. You got to start over again. But I got through it. I got through all the bosses, the giant bat in the first stage, Medusa in the second stage. I think you had mummies in one of the stages. You had a Frankenstein monster and Igor, it looked like, the little hunchback guy. He's flying all around. Get through all that. Get to this one level. And in this level, it is insane. There's skeletons where you hit them, they come right back up because you can't kill them.
Reform,
but you get reformed, the red ones. And then later on the stage, you have to deal with this long trek through this hallway, and there are armored knights, and they throw axes top and low, and then you also have to deal with flying Medusa heads at the same time, which is ridiculous. And then I finally get up to the Grim Reaper. I would have no health, and he'd kill me. He throws multiple sickles at you. You're done, right? Because it's the Grim Reaper. So I'm like, what am I going to do? Never beat it. So I was online, and someone told me that in the Japanese version of the game, there is an easy mode.
Oh.
And I know what you're saying. Real gamers don't play on easy. You know what?
No, I don't.
After 35 years, I don't care.
Yeah.
35 years, I don't care. And what makes easy mode different from regular mode? It gets rid of the knockback. When you get hit, it doesn't knock you back, which I didn't realize was in the easy mode. And I decided I'm going to play through easy mode, and the enemies take less hit points, and I beat it in under an hour.
Nice. No, I do not begrudge anyone playing at. The only thing that bothers me is if you have to play in a hard mode in order to catch, certain content. If there's content missing because you're
games used to do that all the time.
Going back to the Atari 2600, if you played easy mode, you got like half the levels sometimes.
Yes, when I play Bonk's Adventure, you play easy mode. It's like, okay, you got to level 3. You want to get further? Go play normal. And it's like,
Adventure was you get to an end, but the end is a lot easier because there's less castles, there's less monsters, whatever. Some of them, like Pac-Man and stuff like that. You're right. You go through 3 levels that would get harder. And then you just play infinitely at that level. It never got harder after that. And it just got so boring. And let's face it, the less said about Atari 2600 Pac-Man, the better. Only come to find out just last week that there was because that was an Activision game. Am I correct?
No, still Atari released. Why? Why do you ask?
Well, because there was whoever it was that did Pac-Man for Atari also did it for their own proprietary system, and it looked just like the arcade game. Yeah. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
I don't know what to tell you. Here's what happened. It's interesting you bring that up because I recently got there's an expansion pack for my Atari Anniversary Collection, and it actually includes all the Namco games on it. So it actually includes all the variants on Pac-Man and Dig Dug and all them that were released for old Atari consoles, and it comes with the 2600 version of Pac-Man, which I will have to try out. Maybe I'll give you an update during tomorrow night's stream about what I finally think.
I do feel like it's the kind of thing that you got to try just because. I mean, it's like you have to see The Room, right? Or like eventually I'm going to have to see Bad Ronald. Things like this,
Well, I remember on Teleport City, a website I used to visit back in the day, when he was reviewing the Star Wars Holiday Special, and he said, I hadn't been this crushingly disappointed since playing Pac-Man on the Atari 2600. I recorded that as a kid. Anyway, welcome to Geeky Geezers. I'm your host, Aged Boomer. This is my co-host, Pacelli.
Yeah, hello.
And this is my other co-host, Netter of Netters Network, the Geezette.
Good evening.
And so here we are. This is what we do. We talk into the night, or about all the geek stuff. Yes,
we have to, because it's what keeps us moderately sane, right?
See, I'm anxious though, because I think I want to be able to play Dig Dug on the Atari 100 computer, which I think is included, because that was my first ever video game that I ever owned. My dad got it for me, I think, as a Christmas present, and I had a cartridge of Dig Dug for the Atari 100 computer. I remember that back in the day.
What you were just saying about Castlevania and not being able to get through it and frustration, you made me think of what's it? Angry
Video Game Nerd.
Video Game Nerd, and other channels like that, where I've watched and I've seen there are just some games that are just so ridiculously hard, and not hard as in challenging, hard as in just freaking ridiculous to the point of not even being fun.
Here's
here's what was wrong, Boomer. Mm-hmm. You needed wall chicken.
You needed more wall chicken.
There's plenty of that in the game. But you can't find it near the Grim Reaper. There's none there.
That's right, because
they did not want you beating him in the original game. And let me tell you something. I learned later on that some of the reasons these games were ridiculously difficult, it turns out they were very more difficult for the American audience because we went to rental shops, and they were worried they'd beat the game in a weekend and never want to touch it again. But if we make it hard, they'll keep coming back and coming back.
Well, I just saw a video today about a series of games, that were like so violent or so whatever.
Yes.
They were banned in certain countries, right? There was a game from the early 90s. I never played it, but it looked interesting. It was a video game version of all things. What is it? I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Yes, they did a remaster of that recently. Yes, Nighttime.
Well,
the guys did those Doom games.
Here's the story behind that. It's a science fiction classic, everybody knows it.
Yes, Harlan
A
Ellison.
supercomputer, Harlan Ellison. Supercomputer wipes out the entire human race and keeps 5 people alive indefinitely to torture them in cyberspace for eternity. And you go through the game experiencing the torture. Basically, it's like Dante's Inferno. You're going through the different stages of hell through each one of the characters. Well, the last character was a scientist from the from 1930s Germany, shall we say?
Oh,
and in Germany, they did not allow you to have images of that National Socialist flag and its symbol, and that was all over that level of the game because it was integral to the story. So some geniuses came up with the idea, well, we'll just eliminate that level from the game. Well, that's just great. That made it impossible to finish the game because there was stuff that was required to be finished in that level. So for over 20 years, people were completely unable to finish the game until this re-release and Germany kind of relaxed their laws so that now you can actually play the game.
They're skittish about that stuff still, even in the American versions. I don't know if Call of Duty, I think they were still able to use them, but yeah, they were. Never mind. Anyway, that's interesting though. I'll have to pick up that remaster at some point. But
when people willfully ignore history, they are certain to repeat it.
So, welcome everyone. On that note, welcome to a happy night of frolicking. Hello geezers. Have a wonderful show. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you, Big Al. How's it going?
You talking to me or to Big Al?
I don't know. Just everybody, I guess. I don't know. Real Regulation Gaming Recap, welcome. JPRPH1, welcome. Netters Network reminding us that there is a last call membership drive going on. Please subscribe. It comes with its own set of benefits, too.
I'd like to think so.
Only $1.99. All right. So let's move down to JPRP. Deleted Scenes, welcome Unscripted Raid. Jessica Hardo. I have to tell you, I was half expecting to talk about the Netflix thing. I noticed you weren't too keen to talk about that on your show either. We're going to talk about it
but
here.
We are definitely going to be talking
about it here.
And I'll tell you during that segment, I'll explain to you why I'm a little loath to talk about it. And,
I got you.
Where I think a lot of even some of our favorite channels are addressing it probably from the wrong perspective.
Joshua V, welcome. Let's see. Troy, my dude. Okay. It's like the dude from
I like to think so. Is Jesse, are you saying that the opening segment, the opening theme is AI Elvis? I did intend the song to be that kind of R&B type style, yeah.
Geek Flag with Nate knows, welcome. What's up, my fellow old farts and lovely netters? Okay. I don't know, man. When it takes you 35 years to beat a video game, over 35 years, it's ridiculous. And you know what happens when you kill Dracula? His head goes flying off, and that was incredible. But don't get too excited, because then his body morphs into this huge demon you got to beat, and then finally you kill him.
Hey, look,
the Prince of Darkness. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I am playing a game that's, I think it's more than 35 years old. Ultima 4. I never beat that as a kid, and
wow, that's old school.
No, yeah.
Okay, I got y'all beat. I still have not beat Zork.
Yeah,
I remember Zork. You know what was cool about the original Call of Duty's Black Ops game? If you went over to one of the computers, you could actually unlock and you could play the text adventure game Zork in the Call of Duty game.
That is so funny.
It's kind of neat they included that. One night we stayed up all night, got to the final stage. It gave us a secondary weapon, and we couldn't beat Dracula, and it would require starting over to get back to the useful weapon. Oh, that's all.
I heard about that. Yeah.
What was it? I actually beat Castlevania 3 back in the day. Now, the Angry Video Game Nerd did not. He always made that claim on his channel that he never beat Castlevania 3. I did. I was stubborn, and I did beat that. I had to use the 10 guy code, but I don't feel guilty about using the 10 guy code because, again, Japanese version easier than the American version. I made the American version hard on purpose. So I think that someone over there, let's at least give the Americans somewhat of an edge. So if you type in the name "help me," help me, you get 10 guys instead of 3. Yes.
I used to play X-Wing on PC.
Yes.
I used to play that on God mode, and my justification for that was I'm using the Force.
You're using the Force. Oh, I see. When you use cheat codes, I got you.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a cheat code per se. It was just, I guess you'd consider it to be a difficulty level within the game, which is just like the easiest one. It's God mode, where you can't die.
I use that
plot armor.
I used that for Ghouls and Ghosts on the Genesis, and I used the invincibility code, and I still died because it doesn't save you from jumps. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's how hard that game is. That's like, Zootopia, welcome.
It is funny to hear you say, I was on God mode, so I couldn't die, and I still died.
Yeah, I guess. That's the game where you're playing King Arthur, and it's basically King Arthur as a knight versus the devil. That's basically what that game series is. That was ultra hard. Anyway, welcome to Geeky Geezers. I guess we should get into the presentation. Is it here?
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay,
let me
just making sure.
Bring it up. There we go.
There we are. And 12/7. We always talk about the good old days. And Troy, you might be more familiar with this than me, but I figured we would talk about the Archies, or the Archie Show, as it was called back in the day.
Well, it went through a lot of different iterations.
That looks like a newer picture of them, actually. That does not look classic. Okay, let's move on.
I actually think that's artwork from the from a physical media release of it.
Oh,
so it was originally released starting September 14th of 68. It ran until January 4th of 69. But it did birth a lot of it was kind of in that kind of cartoon syndication where it didn't really matter when it originally aired. They played it, for a long, long time. And there were many spin-offs, many updates,
They did a ton of little Archie shows in the 70s. I was looking at the list. There was the Archie and Sabrina hour. I'm curious, did Sabrina the Teenage Witch, was there a crossover?
It was the same comic book company.
So did they ever run into each other?
It was kind of like, all the time.
Okay.
Same. It was just like with Casper and, I'm forgetting the name of the witch that was in that
Wendy.
one. Was it Wendy?
Wendy
I believe
the witch.
so. I believe so. Yes.
Okay. It was the same thing. And sometimes within the same comic, you would have, short stories of each one of them. So you could have an Archie comic that had a Sabrina the Teen Witch, I think she went to the same school as them. My memory's kind of fuzzy on that. But here, some of the spin-offs. Okay. 1970, Sabrina and the Groovy Ghoulies. Sabrina the Teen Witch from 70 to 74. The Groovy Ghoulies, 1970.
What are they called, Groovy Ghoulies? Was that like a band she was in or something?
It was like Monsters. Yeah.
Okay. Is everybody in bands on these series? I've noticed.
Oh yeah, yes.
The running theme.
In fact, talk about the musical theme. 1977, the Bang Shang Lollapalooza show.
There's a name.
Super Witch from 1977, and the Groovy Ghoulies and Friends, 1978. So the whole idea behind this was a Saturday morning cartoon adapting the comic. Well, not adapting really, but inspired by using the characters from the comic books. Yeah, exactly. And they were going for the formula of the very popular Monkeys TV show. They were just going with an animated show instead. So you had you had the different, you had different segments of the story, and it was like kind of formulaic, right? You would have the 10 to 8 minute story, right?
I saw those.
The Dance of the Week segment, a 3-minute musical segment, and then they'd usually end it off with a Jughead joke. which were your basic bad dad jokes, right? And it was the band that did, or the what do you call it? The studio artists, the music team, the session performers is what I'm trying to say, that did all the music for it. Of course, as part of the promotion of the show, released a song in, I want to say 1960. Oh gosh, was it 69?
Probably late. Yeah.
And of course, you all remember the song "Sugar, Honey, Honey." That was the Archies. That was the same session artists that did this. They were playing the fictional, band to promote the cartoon.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's personal, and maybe I don't know if you can answer it in front of Netter. I have to ask, Betty or Veronica? I have to. Before you met Netter, of course. I'm just correct.
I would have always gone for Betty. She's
really?
more down to earth. Well, one, she's a blonde.
Right.
Second, she's more down to earth and
she's working class.
Genuine.
Yeah, and Veronica was
a snob.
Yeah.
Veronica's the rich girl. Yes.
But she was a snob. She was an absolute snob.
Yeah. And also, I don't know if you caught this in the Incredible Hulk, the Avengers. Of course, Betty Brant is Bruce Banner's girlfriend, and of course the female AI that runs the Hulkbuster suit is Veronica.
Oh, funny, very funny. Now, I have a question about one of the characters on this show. I have to ask, what's the deal with Jughead? Seriously, is he like the Shaggy of the group? Because that's
I always made that comparison. I don't think that was intentional. He may have been thought of as the beatnik of the group, maybe.
Yeah, he's always has the munchies. I've noticed that.
Oh, so they were definitely trying to slip that in there, especially in the late 60s. It kind of makes sense. Yeah, makes sense, I suppose.
He's like the goofball of the group, I think. And then, of course, you have other characters. For instance, you have Reggie, who I believe, is he the brother of Veronica? Is that the impression?
No. Which one? It was
Veronica Lodge and Reggie Van something.
Well, is Jughead the brother of Veronica?
No, none of them are related.
Okay.
Reggie Mantle, Jughead Jones, Betty Cooper, Veronica Lodge. Yes, that's right.
Reggie's a bit of a jerk. This is what I'm he's
just like Veronica, kind of. I got the impression they were kind of like the preppies.
But Veronica's not a bully,
he's
though.
On the same level as Veronica, but he doesn't have the money to back it up.
Right.
Oh, so he's like Pete from Mad Men, who came from a prestigious family, but then the prestigious family lost the money.
And I want to be very clear. We are talking about the original. We're talking about the original cartoons, which were based on the original comics. I don't know what the hell they've done in the past 10 to 20 years with these live action CW, transifying LGB stuff that they do to all these people.
Did they do that with Archie?
I don't know. I'm assuming. Modern day.
I always figured Archie was wholesome.
Nothing is wholesome in the modern DEI, push era.
There is a dog in that group, and I believe the dog is called Hot Dog. Correct?
Oh, I don't even really remember that.
I think the dog. I can't remember now if the dog belonged to Jughead or to Archie.
And it was like a sheepdog, right?
And you could hear it, and you could hear his thoughts. Like no one else could hear him say anything, but you in the audience could hear his little commentary on the situation. I did.
Hot Dog.
Yeah,
he was the mascot for the Archies, and was often portrayed as pretending to conduct the band.
Yeah.
Now I did watch
Jughead's dog.
I thought he was Jughead's dog. Now I did watch a couple shorts before the stream, so I did see one where Veronica's dad Well, I got a house, old beat up house. Do you kids want to make it into like a clubhouse? And like he gives it to Veronica, and they just have to, and they figure we can work it over. And I'm like, wow, how often does that happen where someone just gives you a house, and then of course it's the house on Creepy Way or something where it's rumored to be haunted. And so the plot of this one is Reggie doesn't want to work on building the clubhouse up, so he figures I'll pretend I'll do all this ghostly shenanigans so they think it's haunted and will not want to hang out in the house. Do you understand? It's
Right.
kind of a convoluted thing. Then we had an episode where Reggie keeps pulling pranks on poor Jughead, and Jughead decides I'm going home. And then Jughead walks by this other guy that looks exactly like him. Like how they say all of us have a twin out there?
Yeah.
And even this guy's his nickname is Jughead, I guess for being in the army or something, right? And he's even wearing a crown like Jughead. And he says, you know where I can get a good burger around here? Oh, yeah, go to that place. So then this other Jughead goes into this place. And this Jughead is also like the karate champion of the state. And, of course, Reggie starts picking on him and making fun, doing all these things. So then this Jughead gives it back twice for because, on poor Reggie. And it's like he thinks it's the other Jughead. Do you understand?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, wait a minute. What is this? There's a comic book where Archie sees how it turns out when he picks one of the girls. Pick the rich one, but poor in love. Pick the poor one, and it's hard life, but rich with love. Interesting. Wow. That's like it reminds me of a portion of All Creatures Great and Small where you had to read where the doctor stopped by the rich family where the daughter was spoiled and the wife was nagging the husband, being real nasty to the husband. Then he stops by the poor family, but the wife was loving and the daughter was real appreciative of the dad and stuff. And it was like this opposite, like rich in one way, but poor in another. Do you understand?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, let me see here though. In the cartoon, Sabrina and Archie crossover in the comic books as well, and even in the Netflix Chilling Adventures, Sabrina even crossed over at CW's Riverdale. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that was a very different kind of Archie's and a very different kind of Sabrina too.
Not as kid friendly, I'm sure.
Very, very more YA to adult. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Big Ethel was in love with Jughead.
Oh, Big Ethel. Why do they call her Big Ethel?
Because she was
very big. Tall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Broad-shouldered.
What did Jughead think of her?
She was a nice person, just not very pretty.
Oh, I see. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know if we have anything else to say about the Archies, but this is wholesome. There's a love triangle purportedly, right?
Yes, there was a number of albums that they put out. One of which was a Christmas album.
Oh, okay.
Including Here Comes Santa Claus, Up on the Housetop, Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, Holly Jolly Christmas, Jingle Bells, I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, Run Rudolph Run, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Have Yourself a Merry Christmas, Sleigh Ride, Archie's Christmas Party, and Christmas in Riverdale.
Where's the Archies and Riddick crossover? I'm expecting necromongers to be saying convert now or fall forever, and Jughead's like, do I get a burger if I convert? I'm just saying,
yeah, you know what? You're right. That's exactly what he would say.
I don't know. It's just, yeah. Archie would be a Furian, right?
But also
let his fury and rage out.
Welcome
Reggie would betray
Plato.
them to the necromongers. He would betray them, right?
Almost certainly, yes. Welcome, Darth Plato and Robert's Infinite Realms. Good to see you guys.
Question: there was also a principal on this show, correctly?
Did I say Betty Brant? I meant Betty Ross. Sorry, Lynn. Thank you for catching that.
Was there a principal on the show that would often be onto their schemes or something, or like I don't know, like the.
Well, they always had stories where they had to have a adult figure that they had to work around. So yes, there was a principal that was a recurring character. Now,
oddly enough, I didn't watch the 70s cartoon, but I did watch the 80s cartoon, the more up-to-date one. That was all about, like, there was an episode where the principal said, oh, I bet you kids will think this is awesomely totaled. Instead of totally awesome. You get it. Yes, I remember that. But I think it was still keeping in the spirit of the original show, but just as now in the 80s, that's all. But yeah, that's Archies. I did bring this up because unfortunately we have an in Remembrance that ties directly into this.
It does.
So,
One thing that we forgot to mention about this is that the cartoon company that did this, that did the Archies, was Filmation. You will remember them as the film company that also created a Ghostbusters cartoon before there was a live action Ghostbusters, resulting in a
copyright dispute.
copyright dispute over the name. They're also, was Filmation also the ones that they did some of the superhero?
Did they do Star Trek?
I think they did.
Yeah, the Star Trek cartoon series.
And I think they also did something with Captain Marvel. There was a Captain Marvel cartoon series that they did. In fact, the Archies were originally supposed to be part of that. They were supposed to do a Hero High where the characters from the Archies got superpowers and they had to transfer to a superhero high school. However, Filmation had lost the rights to the Archies at that point, so they went a different route with that. But yes, He-Man was also a Filmation creation.
Which ties us to, of course, our article here. John Irwin, voice actor in He-Man and Archie cartoons, dies at age 88.
Yep.
John Irwin, the reclusive actor, provided voices for the heroic title character in He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and the vain frenemy Reggie Mantle in a series of Archie cartoons has died. He was 88. Irwin died of natural causes around December 20th, and his home was in Camarillo, California. His reps at the PR firm Cella Works announced. For nearly a decade, starting in 1969, Irwin was heard in dozens of TV commercials as the snarky Morris the Cat, the finicky orange baby who would eat nothing but the 9 Lives brand of cat food. I remember that!
Yeah.
Oh, no! Okay. The hugely successful campaign was created by Leo Burnett advertising firm. Earlier, Irwin was seen on camera when he recorded as the cattle driver Teddy on CBS Rawhide, starring Clint Eastwood.
Yep.
For Filmation, Irwin voiced the blonde, muscular He-Man and his alter ego, Prince Adam, on He-Man and the Masters of the Universe from 1983 to 1985, and on She-Ra, Princess of Power from 1985 to 1987. He also played the villain Beastman and other secondary characters in the syndicated shows that were based on a line of Mattel toys. Working with John Irwin was a ballad of irreverence, professionalism, and surprise. Alan Oppenheimer, who starred as the evil Skeletor on He-Man, said in a statement, "He was a series actor, writer, performer of commercials, musician, painter, and all-around lovely gentleman, an indelible addition to my life." Added Melody Britt, the voice of She-Ra, He-Man's twin sister. For 40 years, John Irwin was not only my brother on screen, he was my friend. Born on December 5th, 1936 in Cambridge, Massachusetts, John Irwin played various characters, including a paratrooper and chaplain on the 1956-1957 series Citizen Soldier. Isn't that interesting? Later on, he worked on cartoons Groovy Ghoulies, Foofur, and Space Cats, and in the film Babe, and came out of retirement to voice He-Man one last time on a 2005 episode of Family Guy. Irwin also served as an announcer narrator on such TV shows as Here's Lucy and Malcolm and Eddie, and in films including Looker, Everybody's All American, and Back to the Future Part 2. I think he was a new announcer. Let me see, though. Despite pleas for his fans over the years, Irwin never appeared publicly on the convention circuit to talk about his He-Man days. And Oppenheimer, speaking in 2014, said that was because he was very shy. He once asked his co-star to go on the road with him to London. I said to him, if Skeletor and He-Man worked together, the line would be from London to Edinburgh. Oppenheimer recalled, he just wouldn't do it. He really likes the solitude, and he says, I don't even look like He-Man, I said. I don't look like Skeletor, nobody cares. But I can't get him out. Anyway.
Yeah, this is one of those little behind the scenes that I go through every time we do one of these. You see what I do for the thumbnails, and I go out and I look for pictures of people. And there's pictures of John Irwin all over the place. So you know how you look in Google, John Irwin, you get a whole page of pictures. And one of them was Oppenheimer. Is that his name, Oppenheimer? Rudy Wells? The one that did Skeletor?
Yes.
And I'm like, that is not him. That's Skeletor, you dummy. Google. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, I do have to read this real quick. I'm sorry. I loosely based my story on Archie's love triangle in the early chapters, but the later chapters, he just let's say there was a cold night and a bed of three. Laugh out loud. Oh, that was for something you worked on. That's kind of funny. Never mind. Okay. You mentioned the filmation Batman the other day. While Adam West and Burt Ward reprised the roles, Melody Britt was the voice of Barbara Batgirl. Isn't that interesting?
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I knew that what's her name didn't return for that.
All right, moving on to another death. This
Yeah.
actor I know, and I feel he's one of these unsung character actors that he probably didn't get enough
Absolutely.
attention. Cary Hiroki Tagawa, 75, has died.
So
Yeah.
and this is why, this is when you see especially ethnic uh, 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 character actors,
Right.
you're like, I've seen this guy before, but he looks so much like the guy from this and this and this. Oh, do we all look alike? No, he's actually in all of those movies. He looks like himself.
He was in, he was on an episode of
Come on,
Babylon
Craig,
5. I
thank you.
remember.
Yes.
One of the security guys. I thought he was gonna be a
Yes.
regular, but we only saw him that one episode. But because he would typically play villains a lot, so I was happy he was not playing a villain in that episode.
And when someone tries to corner you and say, "Oh, you think all Asians in Hollywood look like?" No, it's just that there's only like one or two Asian guys that play all of those roles that we know them from. Start hiring more Asian actors. There's a lot of good Asian actors.
Yes, there are.
Well, I only know that because I don't watch so much American Hollywood films anymore.
Cary Hiroki Tagawa, the prolific and instantly recognizable actor, best known for his roles in the Mortal Kombat films, The Last Emperor, Memoirs of a Geisha, The Man in the High Castle, died Thursday in Santa Barbara, California. He was 75. Tagawa died due to complications from a stroke early this morning, surrounded by his children. His family confirmed news to Deadline. Tagawa is best known to a broad audience as the evil sorcerer Sang Sung in the film, TV, and video game iterations of the Mortal Kombat franchise. He began playing the character New Line's 1995 film adaptation and was also featured in the 1997 follow-up Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yep.
Was he in that movie? I don't remember him being in the sequel.
I actually don't remember. All those movies kind of blur together.
The
in my
sequel
mind,
was so
so it's
awful,
really
though, I
hard.
might have blotted it out from my head, but I did love the first one.
Be.
He was a good villain in that.
What is rough about this is that, and several of you guys sent this to me for tonight, so it's hard for me to credit any one specific person, but I was seeing it in my feed on X, and everybody keeps using, because there's really only one meme of him in the GIFs out there, and that's his scene from Mortal Kombat where he goes, "Your soul is mine," and I'm like, that's kind of insensitive for an actor who just passed away.
Yeah, maybe maybe I get what they're doing because it's the only movie they could find. But yeah, he was not a nice person in that movie. He was the evil sorcerer Sang Sung.
And this is what I always sometimes I have to remind Netter. Just because the actor is regularly playing a not so nice person, a villainous character, or just kind of a jerk, doesn't mean that they're a jerk in real life.
No.
Although
you don't mess with Coulson's cards.
And ever since then, he's come out and said some things publicly that's made me like him a whole lot less. So, I'll give you that one, Netter. But
you know what's interesting? Apparently, the actor played Cigarette Smoking Man on the X-Files. Nice, really nice guy in real life.
This is what I've heard.
Just played one of the worst villains in TV history, though. But he's.
Well, they've said the same thing about what's his name, Giancarlo. What's his name?
Esposito.
Yeah, him.
Gus Fring in Breaking Bad, and he was also the villain on Mandalorian, right?
The Mandalorian. Yeah, he always seems to always be playing a villain. From what I hear, he's a real nice guy,
Yeah, he's terrifying. He was terrifying on Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
But it was let me see though. I did want to bring up though the first one grossed more than 100 million, a budget to 20 million. It was the perfect timing in that Mortal Kombat as a video game at the time we did the film was on number 4 or 5. That impact of the film certainly had to do with the build of video games, Tagawa said later. He also credited director Paul W.S. Anderson. He was the first one in martial arts history to apply such music, really upbeat driving metal music. You couldn't sit still when you heard the music, and it matched the action so well. It's actually interesting when you watch the Siskel and Ebert review of the original Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah.
Well, because Gene Siskel liked it a lot, and like Roger says, it's too dark. Not in the theater I went to. You probably were seeing a shoddy a projector. You know?
Yeah.
He said
Yeah.
he liked it. He thought it was a good movie, Gene Siskel. But look at this though. He studied karate, and he trained in kendo.
Well,
as
if you're,
Look at that.
I hate to say this, but this is what Hollywood does to actors. If you're an Asian actor, you pretty much have to study some martial arts because you're gonna be called on to use it in Hollywood.
I would expect now any actor would have to know some kind of martial arts if you're going to be in any kind of action movies. You got to know some kind of fighting skills, right? I mean, don't they teach martial arts in the military? Don't they? I mean, yeah, as I know.
Well, they've I don't know if they still teach all the same martial arts, but yeah, there was a lot of judo that they used to teach back in the 70s and 80s from what some of my friends have told me. I wouldn't be surprised if now they're not teaching Krav Maga or something like that.
Yeah, Israeli martial arts, right?
Yeah.
That's what that is. Mortal Kombat Space Ranger John Wick. He was also in the movie Reagan and a voice on Teen Titans. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
That, you know what? That's true. And it wasn't just Teen Titans. He did some other voice work too. This is something that, you know, I think you guys know this about me. I feel very strongly about giving these character actors their due, but I especially feel strong about giving voice actors their due because I think because you never see their face and sometimes you don't even know their names, but you know the voice and you know the character and you love the character. So they need to be acknowledged.
So rest in peace, and also rest in peace all the soldiers, the other people that died on Pearl Harbor. I forgot today is Pearl Harbor Anniversary Day.
That's true.
It's funny in the video game Deja Vu, which I think you have in your adventure collection. I got you a while back.
I do.
Yeah.
I haven't played it recently, but yes.
It's the hardest game in that collection. One is a heroic fantasy setting, and the other is a haunted house setting in that trilogy. But the gumshoe one, as you called it, because you have no memory and you're trying to look for clues. When you look for clues of when this takes place, when this game takes place, if you go up to the newsstand, one of the headlines reads Japanese attack Pearl Harbor. So that gives you an indication of when the game takes place. But rest in peace, though, and good actor. I'm sorry that he's no longer with us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Moving on to
you were just was it this you were talking about, or another one that had rights issues related to the music?
No, that's not what this is about, though. This isn't about a rights issue. I'll get into this with you.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me look up the price of these amiibos.
Did you see in the thumbnail? I had two different articles represented by in the thumbnail with rip-off written over both of them.
Oh boy! Oh look! Okay, something is currently sold out. All right, let's get into this. All right.
Yeah.
This is something that drives me crazy. This is not the first time Nintendo has pulled one of these stunts, but this is the worst one I've read. Back in the day, I remembered Metroid. A remake of Metroid 2 came out of the Nintendo 3DS called Metroid: Samus Returns, which was a remake of the game Metroid 2: The Return of Samus. And I remember not getting it at the time, and this made me remember why I got turned off originally. In order to unlock a sound mode where you could listen to this game's soundtrack, you needed to buy an amiibo, one of those plastic figurines, and connect to the DS. And I said, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
That's something that you should just give me as access to the game. Like, I'm not against amiibo giving you like extra things to help you with the game, like a 1-up or something like that, or maybe a different costume. But stuff that I feel should be in the game that you would have given us anyway.
Right.
And then you lock it behind a piece of plastic. It's almost like it's a weird microtransaction, except in this case it's a microtransaction you get to own in physical form, which is weird because you get to own this statue. But that was just listening to the soundtrack. But now they've gone further. And now with Metroid Prime 4, the new game, there's this one stage in it where you're in the overworld and you have to go around this huge desert and you have to collect these green crystals. And from what I've heard, it takes you forever. And there's no music. And then someone online was saying, wouldn't it be great if there was some banging music? Well, apparently you can listen to a rocking music while on your bike in this long desert, but you need an amiibo to unlock it with.
Oh gosh.
Amiibos have gone up in price. That is the wrong price tag for that. This thing is at least $30 extra. But it gets even better. You would figure that the thing you have to buy to unlock the soundtrack would be the bike amiibo, that Samus on the bike. So I can imagine someone going out, well, I want that music so this stage isn't so boring. So they go out and spend $40 on the bike amiibo because amiibos have gone up in price. Considerably. That might be actually due to the tariffs because these things are probably made in China. But anyway, the price went up. So $40 for the bike amiibo, and you bring it home, and then someone tells you, "Oh no, it was just the regular Samus amiibo to unlock the music in that stage, not the bike amiibo." Even though that doesn't make any sense, because wouldn't you figure buying the bike amiibo would unlock things related to the bike scenes in the game? So then you go out and you get your Samus amiibo for another $30, and then you're like, well, I might as well buy the villain amiibo for another $30 and round out the set. So now instead of paying $70 for a game, you've now paid $170 for the game. So
exactly.
Anyway, yeah, let me read the article real quick. What are we doing, people? Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is finally out, but fans are furious that some music is only available if you buy a $20 plastic statue. No, it's not $20. It's more money than that. The long-awaited sequel to 2007's Metroid Prime 3 has been released 10 years after it was first announced, a soft reboot of the action puzzle series. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond sees bounty hunter Samus Aran trapped on the desolate planet of Vuros.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a great name. Okay. As well as usual dungeons to explore, Metroid Prime 4 features a new open world area that players can explore using the Viola motorbike. However, there's plenty of criticism for how empty the vast desert can feel and how different it is from Metroid Prime's previously claustrophobic adventures. To make matters worse, the soundtrack for this open world desert is underwhelming ambient music. Players can choose different music, but first they have to buy. It's not ambient music; it's ambient sound. There's no music.
Yeah.
Players can choose different music, but first they have to buy a special plastic statue known as Amiibo. I've heard of these things. I own a few of them. First spotted by gaming YouTuber Luke Stevens, the description of the Metroid Prime 4 Samus Aran Amiibo reads, "When you touch the Amiibo, you can now change the background music when riding the Viola in Solvali." These are alien names for, I guess, the places on the planet. It's available to buy from Nintendo Store for £16.99, but fans aren't impressed with the paywall. Let me get this straight: if you pay $19.99, I'm telling you, it's not a $20 amiibo. Of course, I can't really tell you for certain because, unfortunately, it's sold out everywhere because people want the music. If you you get to
hate me, Boomer, because I play all my games on silent.
You do?
Well, yeah.
I don't want to hear any noise. I don't want to hear
sound is half the game. Well, not half the game. That's half the movie.
It's annoying to me, so I play everything silent.
But I like Metroid music. I own one of the Metroid Prime soundtracks.
Boomer, you have to understand how Netter and I kind of game. We're sitting here. You guys kind of already know this. We're sitting facing each other. You know, the backs of our monitors to each other. So we're usually not playing the same games at the same time. So I could be watching YouTube videos. She's playing a game. I could be playing a game. We do that sometimes, but by and large,
But even if I'm not in the same room with you, I've never played games with sound because I find the sound to be annoying and distracting.
So it depends on what kind of games you're playing. If I'm playing Star Trek Online, I'll keep it silent, except when I'm playing a new mission. I want the immersion. I want the sound effects. I want the music. But then once I've run through it once, it's like, okay, I don't need the sound. I skip through the text and all that kind of stuff.
You're killing me here.
I know. I'm terrible.
One of the great things about the NES was it had a decent sound chip. So, I mean, granted, it's chiptune music, but a lot of us grew up with it. Now, of course, there's bad video game music. I'm not going to say there isn't, but I don't know. And to be fair, I've always liked the music of the Metroid games, but this is. Oh wait, here's a reaction though. This is effing stupid. It would be fine if Saw Valley had a theme, but it seems that just some basic ambiance, said another fan of Reddit. I always hate it when Nintendo locks useful features behind amiibo figures. They hadn't done something like this in quite some time, which made me think they realized it was a bad idea, but seems like they're going to keep pulling this BS. Added a third. Okay, yikes.
The fans really are getting sick of this crap. This nickel dime BS.
Here's the thing with Nintendo, and I don't get it. I've realized this. I keep forgetting that I've had periods in my life where I've kind of hated Nintendo or been nonplussed, and then what they do is they sort of reform and do better, and then I hop back in, and then what happens? Then they jump back, and they I don't
switch.
think
they get you back, and then they screw you again.
Well, they didn't screw me for a while though. I mean, people were complaining like when Super Mario 3D World came out on the Switch, and they're like, "Oh, they're charging $59.99 for a game they released on the Wii U." But I argued, well, for starters, if you think they made money on that Wii U game, you're nuts, because nobody was buying games on the Wii U because nobody bought that system. Secondly, they gave you a whole extra mode in it called Bowser's Fury, which is almost like a mini video game in and of itself. So you kind of got two games with it. So I didn't feel they were ripping me off there, especially since I didn't even own the game to begin with. But here, this is just ridiculous. This is nickel and diming. So I don't know who's making decisions over there, but again, they're only as good as their competition. But okay. Ahead of launch, Metroid Prime 4 was criticized for adding annoying new NPCs to the franchise. See, that would be why I want to turn the sound off when annoying people talk to you in games. That would be the thing for me. You know what I'm saying?
I do. That's also why you hit skip.
But then you might miss out on the King's Quest song that you guys love so much.
Yeah, but on the CD-ROM, you could just play the song after you've gotten through the closing credits.
Oh, King's Quest.
Girl in the tower. Yeah.
I remember King's Quest V when King Graham he goes into the inn and says, "I'd like to rent a room for the night." And then one of the guys says, "Room's full, ain't got no rooms." And then the other guy says, "Hey boss, this guy looks like a troublemaker. What do you want me to do with him? Rub him out." Then you're tied up in the basement and you die unless you did something prior to getting there. And I'm thinking, exactly. I just walked into your place and was asking if I could rent a room, and you're killing me. It's like that's an escalation that I was not expecting with that game. Anyway, people are mixed on this game. A lot of the Nintendo diehards are saying it's good. I have a suspicion it's a bit of a Frankenstein monster. It's been in development hell for 18 years, or at least for 10 years, I should say. But fun Christmas time. Oh, this is interesting. This is a PSA.
Yeah.
The original Yakuza 0 will be delisted forever when Director's Cut drops on PlayStation 5. This guy's warning. If any of you want to play the original version of Yakuza 0, you have to get it now. If you have it on Steam or on any console, make sure you have a copy of it, because it's going to get delisted, which means you will not have access to it anymore. Because now we have Yakuza 0 Director's Cut releases on December 8th for PlayStation 5. The original Yakuza 0, the PlayStation 4 game, will no longer be available to purchase digitally. This delisting has now been confirmed by Sega, so if you want to play Yakuza 0 in its initial format at some point in the future, and you're not planning on grabbing a physical copy, then you need to purchase it before 8:29 a.m. post-standard time on December 8th. If you don't happen to own Yakuza 0 on PlayStation 4 or buy it before the deadline, then you'll be able to upgrade to Director's Cut for a discounted $14.99. Okay, but why would you want to play the original Yakuza 0 over the Director's Cut? Well, the thing is, Director's Cut introduces several new, previously scrapped cutscenes that expand on certain story beats. However, some fans feel as though at least a few of these scenes are wholly unnecessary and actually go as far as to cheapen parts of the existing plot. As such, there's an argument to be made that the Director's Cut detracts from the title's original vision, that Yakuza 0 is still best enjoyed without any of the additional bits and pieces. This is what I've heard. It's kind of like when you have a movie you like, and then there's a Director's Cut that comes out, and then the original isn't made available for you to play.
Yeah.
Or for you to watch. I'm looking at you, Star Wars.
Exactly. Well, but it's looking like that's going to be changing very shortly.
Yes, I think I read you had it posted on MeWe in the fans strike back at Disney Star Wars. And I'll say this. I think the bean counters over there know they have to release theatrical.
Yeah.
And they'll probably do it for the 50th anniversary. That's probably what they'll do.
That is the plan, and current rumors are that not only are they currently in the process, and we're kind of getting off topic here. They're not only in the works of cleaning up, not doing anything that alters it. They're being faithful to putting it back to the way it was, but they're cleaning up the sound. They're cleaning up the degradation. So it looks as good as it did back in the when it was originally released, if not maybe a little bit better. But everything's being put back. The no New Hope, no Greedo shoots ever, no McClunkies or anything like that. And the rumor is that they're going to do the same for Empire and Jedi. That they're actually already working on them.
I think they're going to get remastered. It's probably the versions that were out before we got the special editions back in the late 90s. And they'll probably be cleaned up. They'll probably still have the episode 4 in the title. I don't think they're going to give us the one without the ultra track, unless they give you, maybe it'll be an option on the disc. You can select either one, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this will happen. I think it will happen, as you said. And this is a news story I didn't intend to cover tonight, but it looks like we did. Yakuza 0. If you want it, get it now. I actually luckily have a physical copy of Yakuza 0 on PlayStation 4. And I have a digital version on my Xbox, because they never released them physically on Xbox. I am so Yakuza obsessed, I bought the series twice. Once on PlayStation 4, once on Xbox.
Nice.
Because I'm nuts. Okay, that's basically why.
I can attest to that. Yes.
Okay. Well, here's what it was. I got annoyed with PlayStation because I bought the Yakuza games on PlayStation. Then I got annoyed with PlayStation. Then I got an Xbox. And then they have those digital sales where the stuff gets real cheap, and I'm like, okay, I'll pick them up there. But so I have them on both, and I intend to play through them. Do you know what the plot of Yakuza is?
You play as a member of the Yakuza.
How'd you know that?
The Japanese version of the Casa Nostra.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't talk about Fight Club?
You don't talk about Yakuza. You don't talk about the Casa Nostra either.
Yakuza 0 is fascinating in that it takes place. It's a prequel game. So the original Yakuza game, they've remade it as Yakuza Kiwami. It starts with your guy getting out of prison because you got sent to jail. And I think it's like late 90s and you're maybe early 2000s, and you're wearing still wearing your 80s clothes. Do you understand your 80s suit?
Sure.
But Yakuza 0, you got to see him at the height of the 80s. And basically the Yakuza 0 is all about Japan in the 80s, which of course was like their 1920s, like their age of excess, like where all the money was rolling around all over the place, remember? So they played that up in that game, basically. Yeah.
Well, I remember the 80s. I don't remember the money rolling all around, but in
Japan it was.
I'm sure it was.
Japan was like, that's when, back in the 80s, they were worried Japan was going to buy up everything in the United States, right? It was this whole thing because they were rolling in money then. And of course, then they had their economic bust in the 90s, and that all sort of fell.
Well, and I also think there was a little bit of a generational concern, maybe a little bit of guilt. There was a couple bombs that we dropped on their country, and we took away their military. And I remember my grandfather once saying, if they can't fight back through military, they're going to buy up our country. Look, this is what's going to happen. And he says, and I wouldn't blame them, to be honest. I'm like, okay.
Look, I think they're one of our, I feel they're still, despite our past, I feel right now they're one of our few allies in the world. So, this
is a skill I feel like we have lost, because we definitely have a military industrial complex that wants us to be in forever wars. But it used to be that whenever we would go to war with a country, they would eventually become great allies. And I'm looking at Britain. I'm looking at Japan.
Yes.
And it almost happened with Russia, but I swear to you, there are elements in our country that just want to make sure that Russia is always the enemy.
Yes.
Even though we have more in common with Russia than with many other countries in the world now.
Never got into the Yakuza games. Oh, that's too bad. They may not be for you. I'll say this: I don't want to say they're like Grand Theft Auto because they both feature you playing a criminal, but I'll say this: the Yakuza, at least the Yakuza character you play in this game, he does have a code he follows. Do you understand? Like, there's some Yakuza that are more honorable than others. You realize that in these games. Like, they'll still follow a kind of like how certain, I guess, mafia members would have a code they'd still follow. Do you understand?
Sure.
So. Real Yakuza was #1 customers to Nintendo Taxi Cab service. Love Hotel playing cards. Oh yes, Yamaichi, the guy that brought Nintendo to prominence before he got into video games. He created a series of love motels where he used to brag that he was the #1 customer. #1 customer. You're a married man, dude. Don't be saying that out loud.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
We love you a long time. Yes.
Moving on to...
Or at least by the minutes.
All right, big news of the week, which everyone's chomping at the bit about. Netflix and Warner Brothers Discovery confirm $82.7 billion mega deal. Netflix is officially buying Warner Brothers Discovery for a total enterprise value.
Hold on.
What?
I do want to front load this because I feel that there's outright lies happening, not only from the mainstream media, but I believe even YouTube channels that are covering it right now. And they are not looking at the big picture. They may have come to an agreement about a purchase deal. That doesn't mean that Netflix is legally going to be able to buy what they think they want to buy. This still has to get through the legal hurdles of the Federal Trade Commission. And right now, the current administration is saying a big no. Insert Bugs Bunny meme. No.
Yes. Okay. I do want to bring something up, though. Now, to be fair, this might have happened during Biden, but Microsoft was still able to buy Activision, and I don't think they should have been allowed to do that.
I agree.
And I remember Disney bought 20th Century Fox, which I also think that should have been stymied as well, but they weren't. That's why I'm worried about this, but we'll see how this plays out. Apparently, you have people across the aisle for different reasons being against this deal, which was interesting. So politicians on both sides.
Yes, that is the other side of it. It's not only the current administration. I don't care if you hate Trump and this current administration, you voted the other way. A lot of the people on the other side of the aisle, for example, Hollywood, all of Hollywood, who all hated Trump, they're in agreement with him on this too.
Yes.
Because this could signal the end of all of their jobs.
Here's the problem. Netflix is not interested in theatrical, and Hollywood is really
not interested in theatrical, and they're not interested in physical media, which we'll be talking a little bit more about later in the
They still have yet to release Stranger Things Season 3 on Blu-ray, unless I'm mistaken.
Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong on that,
because I've not seen it.
There is a lot of talk that they're not going to. The argument from Netflix was, well, season 1 and 2 didn't sell very well, so we don't want to bother. Bull crap. They just don't want there to be physical media out there. So, folks, I'm just saying, you have the right under fair use law and laws that were passed by Congress back in the 80s. If you streamed it and you have the ability to record it for your own home purpose, you have the right to make your own physical media.
Does this mean Netflix is going to force us to get their service when Netflix is going to copy Disney style, no DVD and Blu-ray copies of TV numbers? Well, it's worse because it's worse because say what you want about Disney, they finally caved and they did release Blu-rays of like Andor and other TV shows. I mean, they are slowly trickling out from Disney. Oddly enough, I think Paramount is the best with their streaming. They do have their streaming shows, but they will put them out on DVD like HBO used to. I think Warner Brothers is still pretty good with that too. But other channels, they're terrible. Netflix is the worst. They don't believe in physical. They did in the beginning, like early on, you saw like Daredevil seasons 1 and 2 coming out on DVD and Blu-ray, and I think later on, first couple seasons of Stranger Things, even though they were Target exclusives, they did come out in a Blu-ray DVD combo, and I never saw any of the following seasons get released, and I don't know if they ever will.
I got to be honest with you, I don't care for the packaging on them. When I originally bought them, I thought it was cool because they looked like VHS, but they're as a result, they're way oversized to put on your DVD shelf.
There's a way to do that and still give you a DVD package that you can show.
I know.
This is what drove me crazy. No offense to the late David Lynch, and I know they fixed this since then. But some of those original Twin Peaks or Blu-ray or DVD packages, oh my goodness, those were complicated.
I have a hard time complaining about that because I have every different version. So it's like, I can find a way to accommodate, at least one of those on my shelf and put the others somewhere else.
One of the worst packagings I ever saw was the Memento DVD from Christopher Nolan, where it looked like a note, like a file, like a file you keep in a desk drawer. It was so weird how you took that out. And then the menu system was insane. It was all this like psychological tests and like select this. I think finally when it came out on Blu-ray, I'm picking the Blu-ray up because it's normal. I can't deal with this nonsense.
Real quick, I want to go. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I wanted to bring up this comment from Darth Plato. Does this mean Snyderverse is coming back? I keep hearing this. So, first, I want to couch this in the fact that we don't have inside sources. All we could do is report our own opinions and what we're seeing out there. But my personal opinion is it is even less likely that is going to happen for a number of reasons. I believe that what you're seeing, all of these rumors that the Snyderverse is coming back, blah, 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 is a bunch of crap that's being put out by Snyder bots and Snyder bros that are just trying to continue to carry the water for him.
It's over.
The same people that were pushing the release the Snyder Cut, which was an incredible lightning in a bottle that could only happen because of the lockdowns in 2019. It was because of that Warner Brothers was willing to invest the extra money to release this thing that a lot of people said they wanted. They did it. Congratulations, you got it. Give it up now.
Did they make money off of that?
Depends on how you calculate that. Do you make anything off of streaming?
Well, they gave it a physical release. You could buy it.
They did get a physical release, and I'm wondering how many people actually bought. But they're going to try to couch it with, but look at, how we did on streaming and how many people watched it on streaming, and they try to associate that with dollar values. I don't buy that argument, but they're going to do it.
Well, that was back when I think Jason Killer was running things. I have to tell you, Warner Brothers has had a ton of just bad stewards, and I think that's why they're in the current mess they're in. Because let's be honest, if Warner Brothers does get sold to Netflix, Warner Brothers is done. They're done. They're done. They're not a studio anymore. They're done. It's going to be Netflix mining their properties to just throw things up on Netflix, and that's it. There's not going to be. I mean, okay, so I'm not even going to bother getting into too much of the weeds on this article then, because as you said, maybe it will be blocked. We'll see. But I don't. I think that if this does happen, this is going to be a disaster for Hollywood, because it'll basically give Netflix so much control over everything. They'll rival Disney, maybe even surpass Disney with this. I don't know.
Yeah. Wallace Lang, I can not only agree with you 100%, but I will give you a little bit of hope in that regard. Have you read the Superman? Is it Superman 77 or
comics?
Yeah, they're it's a comics line. Definitely worth reading. It really does feel like the continuation of the Donnerverse. It absolutely does.
I want to respond to Darth Plato here. HBO part of Warner Brothers? Why is Game of Thrones? Yes, HBO is part of Warner Brothers. They get access. Yeah. You see, Netflix could put all the Game of Thrones seasons on Netflix if this happens. But what's interesting about this image, I think this image is also being used because this is Daenerys Targaryen, like coming in to conquer everything. It's just like in place of Netflix. Do you understand this?
This is why. And this is why the FTC is so concerned. You can't have this much of a control over media this way. It's going to be a problem. However, this is also why it's not an FCC issue. It's not a Federal Communications Commission issue, because neither of these companies are networks with license over the air for broadcast, so that's not a concern.
You're okay, yeah.
Daenerys Oberhungarian, yeah, exactly.
Here's what I don't understand though about Snyderverse, though. I mean, what is Snyderverse anyway? Though, are we including everything that happened after he left? Like the
That's a very interesting
movie,
point, because there
do
is
people count the Shazam movies as part of the Snyderverse, even though
exactly there's a very blurry
had
line between the cutoff between,
or the Black Adam movie, which I wish I never saw.
Not to mention that the current Peacemaker stuff kind of falls into Snyderverse.
The Peacemaker stuff can be both.
Yeah,
because
it definitely swings both ways. This is James Gunn we're talking about here.
Here we go. This is David Zaslav's memo. This should be interesting. Netflix buy reflects generational change in Hollywood. Warner Brothers Discovery is set to establish an integration office in which company planning will be coordinated with Netflix within regulatory requirements, according to a memo sent out to Warner Brothers Discovery employees Friday. The letter from Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav comes after Netflix announced its $82.7 billion acquisition of Warner Brothers early Friday. Netflix has said that it expects to maintain the current operations of Warner Brothers, including theatrical releases. More on that later. Discovery will still be spun off into standalone company, Discovery Global, with CFO Gunnar Wiedenfels to serve as CEO once the new company separates from Warner Brothers Discovery, expected to be completed on Q3 2025. So this Discovery spin-off company is not part of this deal. That's going to be sold off to somebody else, probably, right? That's the impression I get.
So that does seem to be the intent. If Netflix buys, they didn't ever intend to buy all of Warner Brothers, so that means it will get piecemealed out, which is the less profitable way to go for Warner Brothers. In fact, I hate to keep harping on the same point. It's even less so because it ain't going to happen. It's not going to get through the FTC. If it's not allowed to happen, I don't care what their intent is and how much money is being spent.
Do you think this splitting off actually was part of them trying to get it past the FCC saying, well, we're not selling the whole company.
No, because
we're only selling half the company.
No, because the part that they are selling off to Netflix is the exact part that would be an antitrust issue.
So in the memo, Zaslav noted that while there will be some collaborations until the transaction closes, Warner Bros. Discovery and Netflix remain separate companies. Okay, you're boring me. Okay. It may be tempting. Where's the other? Okay. He added that many questions remain about how the acquisitions play out. What we can say now, based on the direction set out today, is that the structure provides a clearer path forward for Warner Brothers within Netflix and for Discovery Global as a standalone company. For both, the goal is a position for the creative work, talent, and brands to navigate a market that is consistently evolving and increasingly global. Zaslav added that among the other bids, strategic paths in combination with Netflix was viewed as the strongest long-time foundation for both businesses. This decision reflects on the realities of an industry undergoing generational change in how stories are financed, produced, distributed, and discovered, and recognizes the strong, transformed company we are today, the significant value we have created, and the resilience and attractiveness that now position us in a rapidly evolving marketplace, he wrote in the letter. That marketplace was perfectly fine until the pandemic hit.
Mm-hmm.
They had DVD distribution, they had everything, and then they went all in on streaming, and all they're doing is losing. This is a situation y'all have gotten yourself into. Yep. There wasn't anything wrong with the wrong business model. I'm just I'm not reading his whole statement either. It goes on forever, but that's ridiculous. It's a generational thing. I mean, I don't know. Has Zaslav been a bad steward? I think he has, but that's just my opinion. I know other people have praised him, thinking he's.
However, you look at it from his point of view, he's going to be making out like a bandit.
That's the thing. Well, that's the thing. It's all about making a buck. It's not about doing anything great. That's the problem with the world today. What half are they selling? The half that people care about, the streaming HBO, their streaming services, their whole studio system. I think the stuff they're getting rid of are the cable channels is the other thing, which
exactly. And all of the properties and all of the content that would go with those streaming services.
Yeah, but
and if you're concerned about Band of Brothers, that's why physical media exists. Get it.
Yeah,
That is a
you
series
have
that is
to.
absolutely worth that.
I'm really worried that if Netflix gets their hands on this stuff, let's be honest with you, they are not. They're one of the Wokoso companies out there. Okay.
Not only that, but watch them decide to stop supporting the physical media. So any physical media you have, anyone who's already got
Get
the
it now.
entire run of Band of Brothers or whatever, it's only going to go up in value.
You're not. Yeah, this stuff's going to disappear if this does go through. It may take a little while. Like right now, you're even after the access, you'll probably still see stuff on the shelves, but eventually that's going to dry up because they're just not going to care. And Zaslav bought Warner Brothers when it was struggling, and with 3 or 4 years going to flip it and walk away with a pocket full. Yeah, it's basically what he's doing. Yes, I'm not going to try to pretend to geek flag. Zaslav was a purported savior of Hollywood. Now he's just running away with bags of cash. They're always the saviors until your back is turned, and then the knife gets stuck in.
And Nate, I'm going to tell you, if you really want the skinny on exactly that flip and how much he stands to make, check out Valiant Renegade's most recent video about this. He goes into it in detail, and it made me think about Trading Places yesterday and what I was talking about with the whole buy low, sell high thing.
Yeah. So Netflix may rename HBO Max to Netflix. Yeah, I mean Netflix is more of a name than HBO Max. Okay, it's. I mean, maybe they'll have an H. I don't know what they're
HBO Netflix Max.
I don't think Netflix would bother keeping a separate streaming service for HBO Max. They would probably just combine it, and then they could all, if they have all that content, they can just raise the price of Netflix.
Whereas everyone else talks about, how stupid it is if you acquire a company that's got a name, with recognition, keep it. Netflix is the biggest game in town.
Yeah, they're the main name in streaming.
Yeah, exactly.
I can see Netflix if they get all this property, they can just hoard it all and then just start upping subscription costs. Because where else are you going to go?
Yeah,
we own streaming. I mean,
there is nobody outside of Netflix and the shareholders at Warner Brothers that actually want to see this happen.
Yeah, Netflix is going to absorb HBO Max if this goes through. Yes. So moving on to what is this thing? Oh, Ted Sarandos says Netflix committed to Warner Brothers theatrical releasing as Cinema Trade Group calls merger unprecedented threat. So let me read this statement from the guy running Netflix. We've released about 30 films into theaters this year, so it's not like we have this opposition for movies in theaters, said Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos on a call with Wall Street fresh off clinching a mega deal to acquire Warner Brothers.
That's bullshit. He's gaslighting.
Yeah. My pushback has been mostly in the fact that the long exclusive windows, which we don't really think are all that consumer friendly, he said, AMC and the other chains are looking to reestablish a 30 or 45-day window to energize moviegoing that dwindled during COVID. The biggest chains often won't run Netflix films with truncated windows. The entertainment community and movie theaters in particular have been immensely jittery at this corporate combination, given the streamers' short windows, if any, as they cater to their streaming audience. Yeah, the short windows are like a weekend.
Right.
I don't think they give a full week. And Netflix has made movies that would have done very well at the box office. I mean, they're not necessarily all movies I would care to go see, but like K-pop Demon Hunters, in like the 1 weekend they showed it, did amazing box office. This could have been a big winner, but they don't care about theatrical. They want you just watching stuff on Netflix. They don't care about physical.
They want you to own nothing. They want their hand in your pocket. I'm not even kidding about that.
This is not going to be good. The entertainment community, movie theaters in particular, have immensely jittery at this corporate combination. Okay. Sorry. The negative impact of this acquisition will impact theaters from biggest circuits to one-screen independents in small towns in the United States and around the world, said Cinema United president and CEO Michael O'Leary. This could destroy theaters.
Oh, yeah.
Cinema United stands ready to support industry changes that lead to increased movie production and give consumers more opportunities to enjoy a day at the local theater. But Netflix's stated business model does not support theatrical exhibition. In fact, it is the opposite. Regulators must look closely at the specifics of this proposed transaction to understand the negative impact it will have on consumers' exhibition and the entertainment industry. This mega deal for Netflix and Warner Brothers would risk removing 25% of the annual domestic box office of films that are traditionally given a robust theatrical release by Warner Brothers disappear from theaters. Netflix currently grants only a handful of their films a token theatrical release, and the overwhelming. Okay, so I think this. I don't care what he's saying. These things, if they get theatrical releases, it'll be a theatrical serve. It'll be like a stunt, you know, like, oh, you get to see this for a couple days, and then you go to Netflix to watch it.
That's just it. They've done this already. They put it out for 2 weeks. They get to say it's eligible for an Oscar nom, and it goes behind the paywall.
I prefer the Skydance Paramount would have to be the buyer. Warner Brothers Discovery. Well, they're at least still trying to be a movie studio, at least from the sound of it. I am going to say this: it'd probably be the best scenario if Warner Brothers should just get his act together and be profitable again.
Yeah,
and stop making movies like Mickey 17 that has no audience.
Right.
And I'm sorry, get the budgets down for motion pictures too. That's what's killing it. You're spending way too much money on these movies.
Yep.
And this I put in here because all the hullabaloo about the Snyder about the Snyderverse coming back. Netflix reportedly dumps Zack Snyder, so is the Snyderverse officially. I don't know why they keep asking this.
Yeah.
Few filmmakers have undergone as much with a franchise as Zack Snyder has with DC. The visionary began tackling material from the pages of DC Comics with Watchmen. Considered one of the greatest graphic novels ever published, Snyder's take on Watchmen was met with mixed reviews, but the film has earned a cult following, a trend that would continue as the director put his spin on other DC characters. After Watchmen, Warner Brothers handed the Superman franchise over to Snyder, who went on to deliver the divisive Man of Steel and launched the DC Extended Universe. Was it divisive?
Oh, more than a little, yes. That's an understatement.
Many filmmakers tried and failed to bring DC icons together on the big screen, and Snyder ultimately became the first to do it with Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, and Justice League. During that time, Snyder was instrumental in building the DC Extended Universe, but it's also well documented how Warner Brothers fired the director from Justice League. Wait a minute. They fired him from Justice League? I thought he left because of personal problems.
Well, of course, that's
his
how
daughter took her life, so I thought that's why he left. They just kicked him off?
Yeah.
However,
they used it as an excuse.
However, following a vocal fan campaign, the impossible happened, and Snyder eventually released his version of the Justice League film on streaming with an epic 4-hour cut. Snyder had much more planned for DC beyond Justice League, but it would never come to pass. To this day, Legion of Fans still hopes that the Snyderverse will continue in some capacity, but recent signs point to the opposite. While Snyder's films have always been an acquired taste, with the critical reception reflecting that there's no denying that the filmmaker has an incredible cinematic eye, following the long-awaited release of the Justice League film, Snyder moved on from Warner Brothers, a sign, and took a first deal from Netflix. The streamer is notorious for giving filmmakers creative freedom on their projects, so it felt like a perfect match for Snyder after his experience with Warner Brothers. At Netflix, Snyder had ambitious plans and began to return to his zombie roots with Army of the Dead. For his 2021 film, Snyder served as director, writer, producer, and for the first time cinematographer. Army of the Dead featured a talented cast that included Dave Bautista and Ella Purnell, and it turned out to be one of Snyder's most successful efforts as a filmmaker to date. In addition to Army of the Dead, Snyder also planned more in that universe, with the prequel Army of Thieves to release later that year. Snyder also had plans for an animated series titled Army of the Dead Lost Vegas. Get it, Lost Vegas?
Yes.
But that project would never become a reality, nor would a sequel to the first film. The Army of the Dead franchise wasn't the only project Snyder was developing at Netflix. Following the first Army of the Dead movie, Snyder moved on to helm 2 Rebel Moon films based on his initial pitch for a Star Wars film years ago. Snyder intended for Rebel Moon series to span several films and expanded it into other mediums, but after the poor streaming numbers and reception, Netflix never moved forward with the franchise. Moreover, Snyder planned for the Army of the Dead and Rebel Moon franchises to eventually intersect in the Las Vegas anime series. Wait, what? Isn't one like a science fiction epic and the other's a zombie thing?
I don't follow this stuff so I don't know.
Okay. Let me see. You never had any interest in Rebel Moon, did you?
No.
It started out as a Star Wars project. I think he pitched to George Lucas, and he wanted it to be like the first heavy R-rated Star Wars thing, and Lucas said no.
Right. Exactly.
But Netflix is running. Okay, so apparently Netflix is not too keen on him. That's what I'm getting from this article, though, because they've scrapped all these other projects. Zack Snyder. Let me see. Snyder's superhero films remain one of the strongest translations of the comic book medium. The portrayal of the heroes that might not be definitive, but it's hard not to appreciate their beauty and boldness. Even though anything is certainly possible, Snyder's recent track record doesn't suggest a return to his DC universe. Still, it doesn't have to take away from what happened either, as all good things eventually come to an end, as they did for Nolan and Raimi. Rebel Moon was Battle Beyond the Star Wars remake. Battle Beyond the Stars remake.
Kind of, yeah.
I don't know. All I remember about Rebel Moon is that there was like going to be like a PG-13 version, but then there was going to be like an unrated version with all sorts of other stuff in it that was not family friendly. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Are you going to be doing an R-rated thing, or are you going to be doing a general audience thing? You have to make up your mind. I didn't quite understand why you would have two different cuts of something of the same movie on Netflix. That's going to get very confusing.
Yeah.
Do you, if you say Snyder times the mirror, that he'll show up on the stream and take over? I should have him on here like he was on Geeks, Geeks and Gamers, right? Remember when that happened? And I remember you ran cover. I don't know. You didn't run cover. That's the wrong word. I mean, everybody was attacking Geeks and Gamers and Zack Snyder, but we surmised that his statement was probably something that Warner Brothers told him that he has to say.
Yeah,
and it wasn't him being nasty on the stream, invalidating.
At least intentionally, yeah.
Because I remember Ethan Van Sciver, like.
Oh, don't even bring up that name on this show. Okay. I don't even want to talk about it.
I understand. Moving on. Here we go. Paramount's now getting into this. Paramount questions Warner Brothers Discovery on fairness and adequacy of sales process. Dear Mr. Zaslav, we write on behalf of Paramount Skydance Corporation to express our serious concerns about the fairness and adequacy of the bidding process for a potential combination with Warner Brothers Discovery. It has become increasingly clear through media reporting and otherwise that Warner Brothers Discovery appears to have abandoned the semblance and reality of a fair transaction process, therefore abdicating its duties to stockholders and embarked on a myopic process with predetermined outcome that favors a single bidder. We specifically request and expect this letter will be shared and discussed with the full board of directors at Warner Brothers Discovery. They're not happy.
No.
We have recently seen reporting in the United States and foreign media that gives serious cause for concern. The German newspaper Handelsblatt recently reported on a meeting that reportedly took place in Brussels between Gerhard Zehler, president of Warner Brothers Discovery's international business, and a direct report to Warner Brothers Discovery's chief officer, who arrived with a three-person team with the European Union Commission Vice President Hina Verkinen. Are all these high-ups in the EU, these all German-sounding names. Anyway,
yeah,
to discuss
I wonder why.
Discuss this potential merger prospects for Warner Brothers Discovery. In that conversation, the article reports that concerns are raised that the Ellison family's planned acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery could lead to excessive media concentration, and that the EU Commission would consider intervening in a potential merger with Paramount for this reason. The article quotes sources close to Zeller as saying that the talks with the Commission were important because both Warner and the EU wanted to preserve media diversity. The implications of such a meeting, if it occurred, are clear, and it evince a tacit resistance to, if not active sabotage, of the Paramount offer. In other words, Warner Brothers doesn't want to sell to Paramount. So it sounds like they were trying to sabotage it with the European Union. Is that what was going on here?
Perhaps, yes.
Because I think for these things to occur, you have to have different governing bodies in agreement with it, not just the United States, correct?
In theory, yes.
I know that was happening with the Microsoft Activision thing. They had to go to the European Union and the United States. I remember that. Yeah.
I do think they're less concerned about the international situation. I think they should be more focused on what's going on here. But yes.
While this reporting is concerning in itself, this is not an isolated report regarding purported Warner Brothers Discovery resistance to a combination with Paramount. Several U.S. media outlets have reported on the enthusiasm by Warner Brothers Discovery management for a transaction with Netflix, and on statements by management with a transaction between Warner Brothers Discovery and Netflix would be a slam dunk, while also referring to Paramount's bid on a negative light. Additionally, reporting since the submission of revised bids on December 1st has indicated that Warner Bros. Discovery Board has really warned to a transaction with Netflix due to the chemistry between Warner Bros. Discovery management and Netflix management. We have come to you first to inquire whether this reporting is accurate and to engage in a productive discussion with you around any actual perceived issues it may reflect. I have a question. Why is Warner Brothers against Paramount if the money's the same?
Say that again.
Like, what's the issue here? Paramount said they didn't get a chance to properly be involved in this bidding process, correct?
What they're alleging is that they're regardless of what they were offering, they were never really in consideration. The deal was already made behind closed doors, which is not the way you're supposed to do business.
I'm sure it's happened numerous times.
Oh yeah.
Moreover, these media reports echo similar indications that we have been hearing throughout the process, despite what we viewed as an otherwise productive conversations that we have more about the Discovery leadership. Paramount has a credible basis to believe that the sales process has been tainted by management conflicts, including certain members of management's potential personal interests in post-transaction roles and compensation as a result of the economic incentives embedded. They're going to get bonuses.
I want to bring up another comment here. Sean O'Rourke in the chat says Zaslav is using Paramount to pump up the stock. Yes, that is absolutely right. I didn't say that directly, but when I said earlier that regardless of how this goes for the industry, Zaslav is going to make a ton of bucks. That's what I was inferring. Yes.
Welcome, Sean. I've seen your channel. It's great. Thank you for popping by.
Yes, and you were gifted a membership to the channel last night, or was it the night before? So welcome to membership. Thanks so much for being here.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming Paramount wants this because Warner Brothers wants to sell, and I'd rather they get in the hands of a movie studio than Netflix, which it's model. I remember back early on, Netflix used to have a lot of HBO stuff on there. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah.
Used to have Sopranos. They had everything on there. Further, as you know, Paramount agreed to. In light of our grave concerns regarding the integrity of Warner Brothers Discovery process, we seek confirmation as to whether or not Warner Brothers Discovery has appointed an independent special committee of disinterested members of its board to consider the potential transaction opportunities and to make a final determination regarding a sale or breakup or part of the company. If not, we strongly urge you to empower such a special committee comprised of directors with no potential appearance of bias or beholdenness to others whose interests may differ from those of the stockholders. This would seem to be an important step at this stage to ensure fairness and unimpeachability of the transaction process and to maximize the value of whatever outcome Warner Brothers Discovery determines to pursue. I'm kind of curious, if you were to compare this to the Fawkes acquisition by Disney, would whatever issues I have with that, is it possible that they were following more protocols than Warner Brothers Discovery is doing right now?
I would say yes. Also, it's not as big a market corner, as far as an antitrust issue. I did want to say, Sean O'Rourke, I want to give credit where credit is due. Unfortunately, I cannot recall off the top of my head who gifted that. I want to say that it was Ruby Hoof, but it could also have been Geek Flag with Nate Knows or Curtis Selby, who are in the chat right now. Guys, if you guys remember, like I said, I always want to give a proper attribution when I can.
As an actor who gets residuals like producers as well.
Oh, it might have been Clue Channel. Sorry.
Oh, Clue Channel. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Netflix doesn't give residuals. That's right.
Oh, oh man, I was unaware of that fact. So
No, it makes sense from what I've heard complaints about streaming shows. Yeah,
when I said earlier that the entire industry is against this, except for Warner Brothers and Netflix, I wasn't just whistling Dixie. Everybody who cares about look, everything that SAG-AFTRA and everyone else went and were picketing about last year. Well, good luck after Netflix takes over. They're going to lose all of their. I honestly, again, I still insist. I don't think this is going to happen. I still think that the FTC is going to squash this. But if it does go through, say goodbye to your cinema franchises. All that's going to be left is a few mom and pop cinemas running old reels. There isn't going to be any theaters that survive this. All those residuals that he was just talking about, that makes perfect sense. Say goodbye to physical media, at least from anything that's bought up in this conglomeration. It's not good. That's why the budgets are so high for Netflix films, because they front load the budget with salaries because they know they will not see a dime.
That's
later.
Interesting, because I was watching Red Letter Media earlier, and they were talking about how Netflix just spends a ton, like this Stranger Things budget. It's huge this season. I don't remember what the numbers were, but and like Electric State, their movie that they did with Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt, that was like $300 million. And I'm thinking these are very expensive productions. But I realize what Sean is saying is they're not paying out residuals. You just get the flat fee up front, and then
and I also feel like that kind of mentality has an impact on the overall marketing. We have spent the past, I don't know, 5 to 10 years being dealt these continuous blows of abuse by writers, directors, actors that just look down their noses at us. And I came to realize it was because they don't care about us. They don't care if we go to the theater to see their movie. They've already made their money. Now, you would think the shareholders in the company would care more, but that's another issue altogether. And I feel that that's exactly how Netflix is going to be. They are not going to care. At least the people making these products aren't going to care, because they've already been paid. So now they can go out on social media and say whatever they want about, well, if people don't watch this and if they don't subscribe to Netflix and whatever else, they're this and they're that and they're the other. And it's okay to hate them because, if they're that, then you can hate them.
Well, this makes me wonder too, if they, for instance, they throw The Sopranos up on Netflix, I think they would still have to pay out residuals for that, or would they? Like, how does that work? Because I know there was that big issue with Disney reprinting, I think they were doing Predator books or Aliens books, and they weren't properly paying the authors. I know that was a thing that was happening after the 20th Century Fox.
That's right.
And that was a legal battle. I'm wondering if we're going to see something similar with this if they start throwing some of these HBO shows on there.
Could very well be. But, as someone else earlier mentioned, I think the other thing you're going to have to worry about is if there's something in The Sopranos that offends somebody at Netflix now, watch it get edited out.
Skydance bought Paramount. Now Paramount wants to buy Warner Brothers. I would think this would be a bigger hurdle than Netflix. So I think what Geek Flag is saying here, because they just recently, and that was already a hard thing to go through, the Skydance merger, right? But yeah,
that was nowhere near as big as this. This is a whole different issue, and it's also there weren't the
also Skydance was a movie studio,
right?
That often collaborated with Paramount anyway. So
exactly.
I don't know.
There wasn't a big shift of streaming services or IPs of that kind. Yeah. It's all of these areas of business are different, and how it applies to antitrust law it can get complicated. Sopranos aired on HBO, which had contracts under cable TV. Streaming didn't exist. Yes. See, this is what I was saying before, Boomer. Well, I've been saying a lot. They got to fight these battles with
Remember
every
Bill
single
Nye?
time.
The whole thing
Yeah.
with Bill Nye on the streaming, and he was trying to get money for the streaming, because I remember that was for his show.
I told you it started back in the 60s with Gilligan's Island and whatnot, and the whole concept of syndication and not getting residuals for syndication, so they had to take them to court for that. Their faces on the lunch boxes and the toys. The Happy Days people had to take ABC to court to get that. Then when cable came out, they had to go back to court again. And then when VHS and other physical media came out, they had to go to court for that. It's really all the same legally speaking, but every time the format changes, it's a whole different lawsuit, and they got to fight the battle over and over and over and over again.
Well, I would assume in this case, though, they would have to the residuals go to family members, but maybe not. I don't know.
It doesn't matter. If you owe residuals, you got to pay those residuals, and these companies don't want to. As an actor who gets residuals, like producers as well,
right?
If Netflix sales go through, the residuals could. Yes.
I know that a lot of Hollywood actors were not happy about this potential deal. Well, okay. And
I'm telling you, I know you guys are going to say I'm a broken record. I keep harping on these same points, but everybody wants to complain about the woke this and the DEI that. And yes, fine, there is that, but these kinds of things are also impacting the franchises that you love. This is a big part of why Star Wars and Star Trek are so messed up. It has less to do with injection of messaging, which sure is there, but it's also, how can we change it so that we don't owe money to somebody else?
25% different. Remember that?
Yeah, exactly.
Change the way the Enterprise looks.
The branding of the JJ verse, the branding of the Secret Hideout TV shows, so that they get the marketing dollars and not whoever went before them. But that's also why we were talking about lawsuits against Paramount was it Paramount or CBS? I get confused now over, hey, I created this character, now they're using it in Picard, they owe me residuals for that,
Yeah.
Would pay to the estates. Yeah, that's right. It depends on who we're talking about, but exactly right.
But again, remember we had that thing with the Bill Nye thing with him trying to take them to court, and I think the judge didn't understand.
That is always
it's not home video, and it's like he says, yes,
well,
should be
and
in
in
home
fairness,
video rights. Yes,
the legal argument would be that the judge doesn't need to understand it. It's it's Bill Nye's attorney who needs to educate the judge and present his evidence and make his legal case. But this going back to what Sean was saying about estates. This is a big reason why we've had so many problems with Superman over the years. You guys get all bent out of shape about things, and I do too. When I say you guys, I kind of lump myself in here too. Whether or not he's got the S on the back of his cape, or if he's got the red briefs, or whether he was Superboy at one point or not. All of these things are to avoid paying out to the estates of Siegel and Schuster and other comic book artists throughout the years. It happens over and over and over again. Don't even get me started on the Marvel side of it and what was done to Ditko. Okay, because I know I'll lose subscribers just if I say anything bad about Stan Lee, but don't even get me started.
So we will keep an eye on this. Probably more stuff will be evolving on this during the week. We'll see. It seems like several people do not want this to happen, so
a lot of people don't, including the FTC. I honestly, my prediction is it's not going to happen, and I feel like Ellison is over there kind of having a little hissy fit when he should just sit back with his hands laced behind his head and just wait, because they're going to come back to you and you're going to go, Oh, so maybe my deal isn't sounding so bad anymore. Maybe I went a little high.
Maybe.
So we'll see what happens.
Are you excited?
Okay. In fairness, here, Boomer, I haven't read the article, so take me through this.
I'm gonna take you through it.
My gut reaction was, "Oh no, please no!" But
look, I'm starting a GoFundMe, and we're gonna raise up money to just pay James Cameron just to leave it alone. Okay. Anyway,
well,
right. James Cameron shares major
die.
update on possible new Terminator film. Oh, more than 3 decades after Terminator 2 Judgment Day, filmmaker James Cameron is developing a script centered around the AI apocalypse. Turns out I'll Be Back was not an idle threat. Oscar-winning filmmaker James Cameron is apparently planning to write a new Terminator movie over 3 decades after the release of 1991's Judgment Day. I'll have some time to write and consider my next projects and the order in which I do them and so on. We're done with the marketing on this, referring to Avatar, Fire and Ash, in a month or so, the visionary filmmaker said during a recent interview with IO9. I've got a stack of notes this thick, holds fingers about 3 inches apart, which is how I start all my scripts on what I want to do with the new Terminator film. I'm going to pour myself into that as a writer. The Terminator saga continued without Cameron after Judgment Day with a trio of theatrical sequels, Rise of the Machines, Salvation, and Genesis, as well as a television series, The Sarah Connor Chronicles. I really liked The Sarah Connor Chronicles.
I love The Sarah Chronicle. Yeah, it was definitely better than those later movies, let me tell you.
I didn't hate Rise of the Machines, though I know some people do hate that one. And Salvation was a bore.
Actually, I'm going to say Rise of the Machines, kind of like Superman Returns, kind of looks better by comparison to what came after it.
I argued when I rewatched it that at least this is a competent action movie. I mean, there's certain things I didn't like about it, but at least it's... And what's interesting on Sarah Connor Chronicles, there was stuff in Rise of the Machines that was sort of canon on that show, like the fact that she finds out she's going to die of cancer, as was mentioned in Rise of the Machines. But again, that's probably now another alternative timeline in this whole thing. But anyway. Sarah Connor Chronicles is your best bet for your Terminator 2 sequel. And then wasn't until 2019 that the franchise originator returned to his mechanical baby via Terminator Dark Fate, for which he received a producer and story credit. Now, I want to say something. Cameron has been all over these sequels. I remember with Genesis, he was promoting the heck out of that when that was coming out. He was saying, I love this movie just as a Terminator fan.
Yeah, well, you're a fan of the residual checks.
Yeah, he wanted the residual checks to the Avatar sequels, and that's I just Terminator Genesis was.
I have to agree with Sean here. Terminator Salvation had potential. They should have continued that storyline. I agree 100%. I feel like it had the potential of doing what those Planet of the Apes movies.
Well, that's what I thought it was going to be like, because this is going to be its own
trilogy. Going to lead right up to
war. Yes.
And that's what everyone wanted. Now they still made some stupid missteps with the what.
I think producers interfere with that movie, because when they first introduced that movie, this was going to be a hard R-rated movie. And then they went the PG-13 route later on. This was supposed to be an R-rated film, and then I think there might have been an unrated version on video. I just don't know. But you're right. Compared to what came after it was brilliant. I'll say that.
Well, yeah, everyone's coming out and saying Dark Fate was trash. It was the worst. Yeah, I can't argue.
I don't know if Dark Fate is worse than Genesis. They were both terrible. I guess it is, but
bad. Yeah,
I don't know how Eddie Furlong signed off on having little John Carter get killed, but I guess he was not in too great a shape.
He just wanted, look, these actors, they just want to get paid. They want to do their job and get paid.
I felt bad for Mackenzie Davis. I felt that movie hurt her career, and I actually think she's a decent actress. I mean, I felt she was at least... It's depressing when I watch a movie and I saw that she was at least putting herself in, treating the role seriously, when I feel that certain other actors that came back to reprise roles were not treating that movie seriously. And I'm looking at Linda Hamilton and Arnold there. I felt they were almost giving comical performances where Mackenzie Davis, she got in great shape for that movie. I feel bad that it just was not a good movie. I'm just Salvation was supposed to be Kyle Reese.
Oh, that would have been so much better.
That would have been great. They could have just cast Bale as John Reese.
Yeah.
He didn't have to be Kyle Reese, or Kyle Reese, excuse me, Kyle Reese. Terminator Future Part was part of the series. I would have liked that. I would have liked this whole Future War. In fact, I love how I don't want to spoil how Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles ends, but I will. You remember how it ends, right?
But I will.
Oh yeah.
John Connor ends up getting sent to the future on that show, and he's in the war zone with the other people, and it's like, and part of me is wondering, is this how it unfolds? Like, is it not him aging up to the Judgment Day, or is it him now being sent into the future and being stuck leading it? And they never answered that because the series went off the air after that, and it's like, James Cameron to direct Terminator 46 Ruse of the Y2K Internet. I want them to get back to Alita is what I want them to do. Oh
God, from your lips to God's ears.
Okay, with AI such a hot button issue in today's day and age, particularly within the entertainment industry, Cameron has all the material he needs to code fresh programming into somewhat stale yet wholly prescient IP he launched back in 1984. Science fiction.
That's kind
from
of
an idea by Harlan Ellison, by the way.
But that was also kind of implied by Genesis, you know?
Oh,
so
please. No.
They just F that one up so badly.
In that, Skynet's an app for your phone.
Yeah.
That's great, because apps were big at the time that came out. Dark Fate.
Well, and not only that, but and they're kind of becoming more so now with your Alexa devices and your, accessing these things.
Sure how to help you.
Yeah, I should have known. I should have known when I said that. I had a conversation with Michael Lang, who was the production designer on Salvation. The Moto Terminators, those motorcycle ones, had a bigger role and would eject the wheel and stand up and fight. I also felt like with all of those new models that they were showing and whatnot, well, this has always been true with Terminator. They have missed so many great marketing opportunities with toys. Where are all the action figures?
I don't know. Well, part of the problem with Terminator for a while, at least, of course, this is outmoded since there's so many adult toy collectors, was that it was, you'd always have trouble with them trying to release toys based on the R-rated films. I remember that was a thing back in the day. Yes, I would prefer a sequel to that. I often made a joke. I thought it would be funny if someone would just make for I guess shits and giggles like if they had done a Dirty Harry show for kids. Like back in the 80s to make a kid-friendly version of Dirty Harry. And I was thinking, because I was seeing that there was a RoboCop series, right? A RoboCop animated series made for kids, which I think is ridiculous. And I thought we should do Dirty Harry. And Scorpio would be like a recurring villain, but he would have like a scar on him from when Harry shot him, even though Scorpio, of course, dies at the end of
it sounds like a Transformer. Yeah, it does, Darth Plato, but if you look at it from Skynet's point of view, it kind of makes sense, right? You kind of would be doing stuff like that before you get to a liquid metal Terminator, right? I mean, you want them to be as versatile as possible. Arnold falling into the liquid metal was going to solve the bloody mess to sell toys if they continued that trilogy.
Were they going to make him a T-1000 by falling into the liquid stuff at the end? Is that how that was going to work? He was going to be like transformable Arnold. I don't remember Genesis that well. I saw it in the theater because again, they were hyping it up like this. Okay, this is a return to form, and it's like, no, this is worse than what you put out before. This is terrible, and I'm just. Harlan Ellison had gripped on the edges of the ship for the sitting edge of forever right onto the passing of his wife. Interesting.
He was like a dog with a bone. No doubt about it.
Ooh, RoboCop versus Terminator. That was a comic book, right?
Yeah,
I
it
know
was. It was
it
pretty
was a
good
video
too.
game too, but I remember it was a comic book, and
Yeah.
Skynet was sort of tied to RoboCop in a way, and it was him versus the Terminators, and it was oh, RoboCop, don't mess it up.
I
He
know.
was just a T-800, but the skin was no longer needed. He could just be liquid metal. Were they still going to use him, the actor, for the sequels? I don't know.
They wouldn't have to.
Uh,
That's part of it. And that's really something they need to do. I mean, this whole idea of a T-800 that always has to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. The only reason for that is because, and they established this in the second movie, because they created another one because they you know, it's all timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly stuff. But once he makes a connection with the second Terminator, you know, then sending a third one to kill him, his guard is down. He's my friend, right? You know, and I don't know. It's all kind of stupid.
well, that was
Let's
the
face
joke.
it. The only reason they keep bringing Arnold Schwarzenegger back is because it's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That was
and when you got to, yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
If you keep bringing up the pay rate for this guy, you know, you're not going to be able to make your profits anymore. And there's no reason that the robot can't be played by literally anybody.
He can't be costing it much these days, though. Of course, they couldn't get his visage for the new Terminator 2 game coming out. It looked like they got Linda Hamilton and Robert Patrick, but they don't have him in he's in the game. You can play as him, but it's a pixel version, not like for cutscenes.
I would say, for crying out loud, you just have an an endoskeleton.
Well, that's what they have. That's what they show on the cover of the game.
You don't need Arnold Schwarzenegger, is what I'm basically saying.
Well, on Terminator, like on the Sarah Connor Chronicles, you realize and they did, to be fair, on the original Terminator movie was like this. You had several different Terminators that look like different people. Do you understand? But
there you go. I want the next Terminator to be Summer Glau. That's what I want. Okay, there we go.
Well, the disturbing thing I found in the future is that I think that the Terminators were based on specific people because I think Skynet employed a psychiatrist.
Yep, it was all about infiltration. So they would take a resistance member, make a duplicate of them as a Terminator, and send them back to kill everybody.
Part of me almost wondered too if they had. Because it was weird, because I think they might even retain some memory. I don't know. I don't remember what they were going with in season 2 of that show. I should rewatch it someday. But there was more to them. No, because Summer Glau's Terminator was still a Terminator, but she must have known something about the person to still affect likenesses or mannerisms. That's what I'm thinking. What was I going to go?
I felt that was partly because they understood the limits of CG. They gave you the Arnold for a little bit, and then they're like, okay, no more. Now it's just the robot.
But I'll say this, at least in the factory, though, it would make sense they wouldn't look quite up to form yet either, though, right? Because they were being produced at that point.
Maybe you can make that argument.
I just felt touches on
the Arnold thing was all just kind of a I don't know, an homage, kind of an Easter eggy type of, that wasn't necessary in my opinion.
Jesus said John Carpenter, turn on humanity and become part of the machine. And no, it doesn't make it when you make your hero the villain, which is what they did in Genesis, and they did the same thing. And then in Dark Fate, they just have him get killed. It's just they've been really nasty to John Connor in some of the later movies. But what did I want to make a point about, though? I did like in Terminator 3, though, how when the Terminator comes and meets John Connor again for the second time, and he's realizing, I have to program you all over again. You don't know that you're not supposed to kill people because I haven't programmed you yet. Again, he was getting frustrated. You understand? Because he's like, I have to do this all over again.
And I have to agree with Sean. I'm actually kind of getting to the point where I'm getting offended at the key jangling that they do to us. I understand why they did it. Yeah, it kind of looked cool. You didn't need to do it. You didn't make the thing better. All you did was jangle keys, and you expect me to go,
Well, they could have done it as one of the Terminators, the one that he has to send back in time,
That would have been, that would have made sense, yeah.
Instead of having a whole bunch of
literally the same Terminator that we will see in the first movie. We'll see in the first movie. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Exactly. So I think I stand corrected, though, because it looks like, at least on this particular movie, Guillermo del Toro confirms Frankenstein physical media release with deleted scenes. Good news,
Yeah.
Franken fans. Guillermo del Toro has confirmed that despite the film being a Netflix release, Frankenstein will be available to own on physical media in the future and will include deleted scenes from the Gothic epic. Over the official Twitter account, del Toro teased the news of a physical media release by replying to a fan hoping to see a deleted scene from Frankenstein, which depicts Mia Goth's Elizabeth Harlander in the convent where she lives before marrying into the Frankenstein family. Further details have yet to be announced, but given the sheer amount of work that went into bringing Del Toro's vision of Mary Shelley's classic sci-fi horror novel to life, we imagine the release will come stacked with special features, including that scene and many more. Following a limited theatrical release, Netflix unleashed Frankenstein, which stars Jacob Elordi, Oscar Isaac, and Christoph Waltz, alongside Scream Queen Goth on November 7th. The monster horror topped Netflix chart with over 60 million views in 10 days, and critics and audiences alike aligned on an excelled reception, and Fango's own Michael Gingold praising the film's impeccable craft. While the streaming figures are hugely impressive, a physical media release for a Netflix-based film isn't always guaranteed, probably due to the streaming giant not wanting to jeopardize their own numbers. That Frankenstein should have one of the works is hugely exciting news and serves further proof as the great GDT's love of the game. Oh, Guillermo del Toro's.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Did his Pinocchio get released on DVD? Because I know he had done an animated Pinocchio that came out around the same time as the Disney one they were doing. And that I thought was also a Netflix exclusive.
I haven't seen it yet, but yes, that did happen. I've heard good things about it. I also wanted to. I was going to get to this point. As long as directors have those terms of physical media into their contract, we can have some hope going forward. Yeah. So that's what I was going to say. Keep in mind, this is a statement from Guillermo del Toro, not specifically Netflix. So in other words, that's his way of kind of saying, I already decided this when I went into a contract with Netflix. It's happening because I said it's happening.
It's possible it was a boutique release, like a Criterion edition.
Well, it's going to require, and again, I want to reiterate what Sean said. It is going to require, and I would say this would be the same with actors and their residuals and all this kind of stuff. They need to start building that stuff into the contracts. They've got to. This is what their representation is supposed to be doing for you.
Do you know what contract it wasn't built into? K-pop Demon Hunters. I can tell you that right now. They just threw that away.
Yeah.
Sony just threw that away.
Yeah.
Because Cobra Kai, oddly enough, still got physical releases. They still released that on DVD, even though it was because I guess even though it was a Netflix exclusive, it wasn't owned by Netflix. I think Sony still owned the rights to it, so that was able to come out. But
if Netflix wants to attract big talent, they will need those terms. That's exactly what I'm saying, Sean. That's right, and that's how the industry has to move at this point. They've got to take back their value. You know
what? Let me look up, if you don't mind. I want to see who released Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, because that'll be telling as to how this would happen.
Sure. He says, I'm sure Sony will not let that happen on the sequel to K-pop. Yeah, that's the other thing too. You don't know. Look at how many people passed on Star Wars, right? And then of course 20th Century Fox famously allowed George Lucas to hold on to the marketing rights because they didn't think there was going to be any value there. See, all of these things you don't know until it happens, and then you know, right?
It's a Criterion release. This makes sense. So what would happen is Netflix doesn't have to worry about making a DVD of this to release. They just let another company that makes boutique DVDs like an Arrow Video or a Criterion, and they go to the trouble of releasing it physically. And Netflix, I'm sure, collects revenue from that as well, but they don't have to worry about being in charge.
And that's fine. We still get the DVD possibly better than it would have been from them.
Oh, they usually are, because don't get me started on certain companies like Warner Brothers.
I know.
DVD releases, yes.
Like Warner Brothers.
That looks pretty. I need to watch this movie. I still have not seen this yet.
I've been putting it off a little bit because I know I'm going to have some issues with it, just because I am a Frankenstein purist.
Oh, I'm talking about Pinocchio. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I definitely
Yes.
want to see that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know it's a couple of years old at this point. I just remember it came out around the same time as the Disney one, and I thought it was a lot better.
Yes, and I did buy the first 2 seasons, and as far as I'm concerned, that's where The Mandalorian ended.
Right. Well, there is that. No, they've been better about releasing their stuff. Disney has. I mean, I'll give them points for that.
They need the money. They need the money now.
I don't understand.
They're learning.
It's
Maybe
revenue.
they're learning. Yeah.
Release your stuff on DVD. I don't think they're as bad as some of the other companies out there. I mean, I forgot who else was bad about releasing stuff on DVD.
They all are.
I know with Warner Brothers, they tend to like to wait a while. Like, I know with Game of Thrones, it was always, we'll release the new season of Game of Thrones. I mean, the last season of Game of Thrones when the new season is airing. That way, we're not interfering with people who are subscribing to HBO. Oh, and our final article of the night. Sorry.
There we go. No, that's fine.
Which I do not have in my notes.
That's your fault.
What the heck happened here? How did I miss this? Did I delete
you're a boomer. You're a boomer.
Oh, well, give me a moment here. Physical media is cool again. I'll find it. But
it is. It always has been.
This is actually the only reason I put this on here. This is an old article. This is from, I think, August, so not really, but I think it's kind of prescient now. And this is from Rolling Stone. And I think basically, I think even the kids are out there. They're wanting the physical media now. They're done. Physical media is cool. Streaming services have themselves to blame. Sorry, give me a moment. I'm having a senior
while
moment
you're
here.
doing that, I want to shout out deleted scenes. Do you not have private? What is it called? Private seat or whatever it is tonight. I'm seeing 2 instances of.
Oh no, he doesn't have a reserve seats tonight.
Reserve seats. Thank you.
He does not.
Also, I am seeing 2 instances of your mystery movie night. Are you supposed to have 2 for the same night? So that might be an error. Double check that.
Okay.
No, that one says 12/16. That one says 12/9.
These 2.
Yeah, look at the date. Scheduled for 12/16.
Oh, 12/16, 12.
12/9.
Oh, okay. I misread.
First
you.
up, so they're going, what the heck is the 16th month?
Yeah, good point. With digital and streaming, who collects DVDs now? Anybody who wants to be able to hold on to and keep, the original versions of things, and have access to it whenever they want. You just try going and finding certain shows right about now. That where can I find this? It's not being broadcast on any digital streaming service. Congratulations! If you don't have a DVD, you're out of luck.
Yeah, let's see. Creator of Sam Boyd, creator of the. Okay, sorry.
When Disney decides something in one of their films is inappropriate for modern audiences, and then they change it. Well, good luck. Now you'll never see the original version again.
Disney's been doing that for decades, though.
But they're not the only ones. A lot of people are doing that now. And this is why digital is still important. I mean, physical media is still important.
Oh, I remember being frustrated during the early days of DVD because I think they censored Pecos Bill's cigar out from one of the cartoons. I remember that.
Yeah.
And
look, I mean, the example that we always bring up is Steven Spielberg, and his taking all the guns out of E.T. and putting in walkie-talkies, and then saying, "Yeah, maybe that wasn't such a great idea." And then on subsequent releases, making sure that both versions were on it.
I always gave Spielberg credit when that got released on DVD because the company was going to they were going to have the original theatrical as included in the special edition. Spielberg said no. Every edition of E.T. will have to also come with the theatrical edition because that might be why some people are buying it for the version they grew up with. Like, he understood, so I always gave him points for that. That even though he did his special edition, he made sure the original version was included.
That's great, Wade. Just be careful. The city has gotten pretty bad, so just be safe.
I did want to bring this up though. From creator Sam Boyd, creator of Love Life, he used to say, "I used to get DVD sets of shows that I loved that had only been on for a season or two." He tells Rolling Stone, "That was a formative thing for me. There was just something fun and special. It made you feel like you saw something that was missed." Um, Hold on. And it's no surprise then that at the same time, Boyd is hopeful that a new batch of Love Life heads just as Netflix scrolls away. Television film collector culture is having a resurgence online. When streaming services first took off in the mid 2000s, they promised consumers a new world where movie night didn't have to start with a drive to Blockbuster, and pricey cable packages could be dropped without sacrificing your favorite shows. Almost 2 decades later, streaming has become the default, not the scrappy competitor. According to Pew Research, close to 83% of adults in the U.S. now subscribe to at least one streaming service, a number that steadily grows. These days, consumers aren't entirely happy with the trade-off. Licensing deals meant that the film that was on Netflix for 2 years can leave and take a spin on a platform you don't pay for.
Well, and it's just like what we were talking about, especially right now around the holidays. You want to watch the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving or the
Terrible.
Christmas special? Well, good luck. It's on a proprietary streaming service. If you don't have that one, you're out of luck.
Yeah, buy the
Netter
DVD
and I
of that
aren't.
one.
We have it on DVD. So
Yeah, I have the DVDs of those too.
I
And
miss hanging out at Blockbuster. Yeah, exactly. Well, even more than Blockbuster, I loved. Well, I was biased. I worked at a local mom and pop VHS place, and they actually took my my advice. I would watch all those screeners and would give them advice on, yeah, you should get at least one of these, or, oh, I don't even need to watch this. Yeah, you need to have a couple of these, or whatever the thing was. Yeah, I miss those days. I really do.
Yeah.
And the interaction with the customers, you'd get to know the customers and you'd be like, hey, I know you've never heard of this movie, but you want to check this one out. This one I know you're going to like. If you don't like it, come back and tell me.
Was the movie Ghoulies 2? I'm just curious.
I may or may not have recommended Ghoulies 2 to a couple of people.
Ghoulies. Anyway, what was I bringing up? Okay, so when it leaves the streamer, it virtually disappears for the average consumer. Physical media, on the other hand, doesn't have this issue. While streamers aren't necessarily losing customers, people collect Blu-rays, DVDs, and VHS. Pacelli, Rolling Stone, there's trending culture isn't nostalgia bait. It's participating in the digital world while recognizing the value of holding onto something in their movie-obsessed heads. Gina Luzzi, 33, first started her physical media collection without even realizing it. She grew up going to Blockbuster with her father for movie nights and has fond memories of strolling the aisles of Barnes & Noble from everything from books to CDs. But in 2018, she began collecting far more seriously. Her focus, cheesy 1980s Italian horror mystery films known as giallos. I need to meet this woman. Okay.
I know, right? It sounds like your soulmate.
Many of which aren't available on streaming platforms. That's incorrect. They're all on Tubi.
Well, there is that. Yeah.
If I can find something that only one place has ever put out, or a movie that has been restored for the first time in 30 years, that's so exciting for you. Lucy tells Rolling Stone. Living in Los Angeles, we're so spoiled when it comes to physical media. We have so many old theaters, video rental stores that are still active, so many VHS-centered spaces. So my love for physical media is really tied to my love for Los Angeles. So I just thought this was a nice little article. You can give it a look. It's funny because years ago, I had that flood situation happen.
Yes.
Because of the hurricane, and then I lost a bunch of my DVDs. And I've been able to replace some of them, but some of them have been very hard to find. And I remember one was Rock and Rule. Remember Rock and Roll?
Oh, yeah. And that was a hard one to actually get out in the first place.
I think there might have been music rights, because I think Iggy Pop did a track and other things. It finally got a special edition, and suddenly it went out of print and the price of it skyrocketed.
Yep.
And then recently I saw that an Australian DVD of it was released, and I'm like, I know I can't buy this Australian DVD. It won't play in my player. But then I looked up customer reviews, and from the sound of it, it was region free. So I picked it up, and it was the exact same DVD I bought years ago. It played on my player fine. So, not a Blu-ray, unfortunately, because the Blu-ray is still horribly expensive. But I was able to replace my DVD.
I thought that Australian and Canadian DVDs were both region 1. No, I guess.
Are they?
Australia wouldn't be.
Canada is our same region. You can get a DVD from Canada. It'll play in your player. Yeah, but
well, Yeah, but you know what? If you get one from, I mean, I do this all the time. I get stuff from UK, and then I just reformat it for myself. You know, that's how I was able to watch the entire series of Blake Seven. I got all 4 seasons from overseas, and I'm still buying the Blu-rays as they come out. You know, over here, but
Yeah.
you know, after all these years, you know, I had to get what I had to get.
They had some good deals on Black Friday on Blu-rays. They had the Back to the Future trilogy, $15 on Amazon.
Yep.
Not
And
bad.
as a side note, Sean O'Rourke was saying that in its second week, Zootopia is at 900 million already.
Children's movies do very well.
And
at box
we are
office. Yes.
starved for good children's movies.
Yes.
You know, I mean, something that isn't teaching, you know, inappropriate stuff to children, you know?
But I'm sure Zootopia 2 was safe. I think they learned their lesson.
Everything I heard it was, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think what's the and I'm sure Super Mario Galaxy is going to do well when it comes out. Parents still bring their kids to the theater to see the kids movies. It's some of the other fare, which is, I mean, October was a disaster for Hollywood.
Yeah.
With Tron, Ares was part of that whole thing.
Honestly, and I've said this before, I've talked about how Hollywood and the entertainment industry used to spend buku bucks to do market research to find out what people wanted. Now, in the age of YouTube, we're telling you en masse for free, and you are ignoring us intentionally and wondering why you are losing money. Right? Just, I don't know.
Well,
Tron in October was a weird release. Yeah, you're not wrong about that, Sean.
I was hoping that was going to be a summer release, and I was actually, from that original trailer, I was primed to go see it and give it a chance, and then I heard everything else about it. I was like, no, this is not really a sequel. You're trying a weird soft reboot. If you're going to do a reboot, just reboot it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Troy is right, Sean O'Rourke says. Okay.
I appreciate
Sometimes
that. I really, really do.
Anyway, that wraps us up for Geeky Geezers for the night. That's all the news.
So, of course, everybody, remember, I got Liquid Lunch all 5 days of the work week. Take your time on your lunch if you can and hang out with me Monday through Friday, noon Central, 1 Eastern. Tomorrow night, members, we are moving the member stream to 9. Because I asked you guys, and you said, yeah, the vast majority of people that responded said, yeah, 9 would be better than 8. So starting tomorrow, we're moving the members' night at the movies to 9 o'clock. You also voted.
Does that mean 10 Eastern?
10 Eastern, yeah.
Okay.
And you guys also voted and decided that the movie you wanted to watch was The Hand from
Christmas
1981.
Classic. Christmas classic.
I'm sorry, man. I will at least nominally go through the fight of arguing that
Die Hard is a Christmas
movie.
Oh, but you're not going to give that concession to The Hand. That's
probably not. Probably not.
All right, so this is what you guys missed out on. I'm just going to say it right here with that poll. Okay, so Wild Card with Jacen Statham, which oddly enough was also another adaptation of the same book that was a Burt Reynolds movie in the early 80s, oddly enough.
Oh, okay.
You get to see Jacen Statham as a Las Vegas, I guess, troubleshooter for hire that gets into some trouble with the mob, and you get to hear him beat up a bunch of mobsters to the tune of White Christmas in one scene. It's nice, the Bing Crosby song. Then P2 is a business executive lady is trying to get home for the holidays on Christmas Eve, but her stalker, there's a stalker in the security guard in the parking garage she works at. You miss seeing Rachel Nichols and maybe a low-cut dress and her getting sprayed with water in that movie. I'm just saying. Okay.
Well, nothing says we can't watch those.
I have a thing for Rachel Nichols. All right.
I can understand that. I think you might be calculating your times wrong, Samuel Proctor, because if it's 9 o'clock Central, that's what,
10 Eastern.
8 or 7 Mountain Time.
Yes.
Oh, it's 8 Pacific.
Look, whatever you do,
I
if you
just
click
put
on
on
the
my
YouTube
vest.
channel, it'll tell you what time it's going to be based on your time.
Yeah. Yeah, the stream is already up, so you can
Yeah.
check that out. Anyway, Tuesday night, of course, Adventures of Sherlock Holmes at 9 Central, 10 Eastern. I believe we're going on to the 5th episode, which is The Crooked Man. Thursday, we are celebrating Netter's birthday on Netter's Network. That's going to be a lot of fun. And want to tell them what we're doing on Friday, Boomer?
Friday, we're going to be doing a last call, and there'll be some karaoke stuff going on. So we'll probably start
Absolutely.
on YouTube and head on over to Rumble, all right?
Yep.
Because of, you get into trouble if you're singing someone else's song on YouTube for
Exactly.
it's
So
you
we'll
singing.
be having a karaoke party on Friday night.
Christmas theme, maybe?
Mostly,
Christmas
I would
classics,
imagine there will be a lot of Christmas caroling.
Yes.
I'll have a blue Christmas
Hey,
without you.
Don't do that right now.
Yeah, right. I will be
Kidding me? The
I will
Elvis estate is probably the worst. It's
be
like-
sure to join me for Liquid Lunch on Friday to find out what I'll be sipping on Friday night. But of course, we will also be singing Happy Birthday to Netter on Friday.
Which I think is no longer copyrighted, so you can do that.
No, you're right. It is no longer copyright written. And Saturday, we will be watching
a movie
on Netter's Network.
Goodbye. Was it Goodbye, Christopher
Goodbye,
Robin?
Christopher Robin. Yes.
Oh, you've not seen that, have you?
Not yet.
No.
No,
Oh, boy.
Saturday.
Oh, boy.
I would imagine. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's about the creation of Winnie the Pooh. I'm not going to say anything else. Yikes.
There may be a country song or two.
There's
Definitely
some good ones. There's Hard Candy Christmas. That's a Dolly Parton. That's a good one.
Oh,
That's a good
God. Oh, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, you might want to do that.
I don't know if I could do that song justice.
Maybe
That one's
Netter.
rough.
I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe,
All right.
maybe there is talk about Netter and I doing a very special duet if we can get it practiced before then. Yeah.
All right.
But
so it sounds like a fun week, and I will be joining you tomorrow night for The Hand, the greatest Christmas movie ever. Even though it's not.
Members, go check out the thumbnail that I did for it. I wrote the note below it in the font from the Addams Family, and I said it's a proto Christmas ... thing.
You're not that far off.
Yeah,
I don't want to spoil the movie for you. I just know that I feel that's a wholly underrated horror movie. I think Oliver Stone kind of beat himself because it didn't do well at the box office. I think it should have done better, much better at the box office. I think he did a good job with it, actually. I think it's a great
this
little
is
horror
one of the films that Michael Caine has gone on record saying that he took it just because he needed the money. He was doing in addition to his garage.
Yes, that's in his bio. Yeah, I read that in his biography, which we have in my library, and I'm like, really? It's a great little horror movie you did. It's a lot better than some of the other movies you did around the same time, so don't go picking on it.
Oh, and also on Thursday, Action Theater over on Deleted Scenes. Check out the Philadelphia Experiment.
That's a classic.
I can't remember if we did that on my channel in the past year or two, but it is based on a real urban legend that is kind of coming back into prominence these days. So definitely check it out. It's worth seeing.
It's classic.
And Michael Pare is just
really good.
Great. Just great. Yeah.
All right.
He should have played Superman, in my opinion. Just saying. He would have been a great successor to Christopher Reeve.
He would have been.
Then. But anyway, I'm sorry. I'll shut up so you can end the show.
No, y'all just have a good week. Thank you for sitting in here with me, Troy and Netter. Appreciate it. Absolutely. And we'll see you tomorrow night. I'll be joining you because this is sort of my pick in a way. I gave you guys 4 movies to pick from. You picked The Hand.
Yep. The Hand. All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.